For those of you observing the holiday today and celebrating, Merry Christmas Eve, Merry Christmas. Yeah, hope everyone is doing well. Um, Welcome back to another live stream. It's gonna be pretty laid back live stream today. Don't have a whole lot going on. Today we're gonna be working on a 461 and our personal 661 that we refer to as Big Bertha. What we're doing for both saws, starting off with the 461, we're going to go ahead and be removing the piston and the cylinder. It needs a new top end replacement, so piston and cylinder. And then Big Bertha, our 661, also needs a top end replacement, so piston and cylinder. But since buying Big Bertha, I have not had the chance and or have taken the time to tear down Big Bertha and remove its cylinder to see how bad it's scored. So it might not be too bad, to the point where we can just probably clean it up a little bit with some sandpaper, or it might, it might be a little too far gone to clean. The 461 here, this one is it's for sure gonna need a new piston, and I won't give it away quite yet because it's quite juicy, and we'll see here in a minute. And like I said, Big Bertha, our personal 661, I don't know exactly how scored the cylinder sleeve and piston is, so again, we might get lucky, and we might be able to just clean up Big Bertha's cylinder sleeve and piston, but we'll see once we get there. So we're going to start off with the 461 here. It's basically already torn down. Just have to remove carburetor so we can go ahead and push through the air intake boot, and then remove the handle, and then pop off the cylinder. And that's pretty much it for this one. So like I said, today's live stream is going to be chill, mellow. It's Christmas Eve. Not that it really matters, but it's going to be a chill live stream, not a whole lot going on. Big Bertha, on the other hand, it's right over here waiting its turn patiently. That one is going to be a full teardown, so rewind starter, shroud, air filter cover, just the whole everything. It's all put together. So minus a couple of pieces that are missing, because I gave it to one of our customers, like the air filter base. The one that it has on there now, it's not its original. It's actually one of our customers, Ephraim, that I just use for picture purposes. And but anyways, hope everyone is doing well out there today. If you were hanging out on our last live stream earlier, when I was on my walk, welcome back. And either way, to everyone coming back and joining in today, welcome. Glad you're here. So looks like we have a good little crowd. So we'll get started here in just a moment. See if anybody else comes in. Like I said, the 461 here, not a whole lot left to do. Just remove the carburetor so we can get access to the air intake boot, so we can just push it through and remove the cylinder. Everything else has been removed. So obviously air filter base, clutch cover. It's definitely going to get a good cleaning. So we'll remove the cover here that basically just covers the chain brake components and whatnot, and then but that'll be once I go ahead and actually do the cleaning. We still have to get parts ordered up for this thing. Muffler has been removed, and flywheel and rewind starter have also been removed. So like I said, all we have left to do is just remove the carburetor, the handle, and undo the 4 mounting screws, and that's about it. In the meantime, while we allow more folks to join in, let's see. Your girl KK, hello. Carlos Gabriel, hello, welcome. Deuce Torres, un saludo para Tomás Turbado, Saludos a toda la raza que se está conectando ahorita. Si ustedes celebran pues hoy el día de festivo, el día de fiesta, pues que pasen buena Navidad. Hello to everybody. We got Pittsburgh Steelers fans in the house. Hello. Unfortunately, they did not win the other day. I was rooting for them though. It was my cousin's favorite team, so just as like a tribute to him, I got to go for the Steelers. I'm a Niner guy myself. Anyhow, so much love to everybody joining in. So we'll probably just get started here. Let me just give you guys a peek at Big Bertha. So there it is. This is the 661C. So this is the M-Tronic version. I put on West Coast clutch cover, West Coast 3-point dogs. So just a little backstory real quick before we get going on the 461, even though, like I said, this is going to be a laid back live stream. We're not going to be rushing through anything, not like we normally do, but we're just hanging out today. Let's see, people ask me, why do I have a Buffalo Bills background? I was wondering the same thing too, but hey, well, I was trying to download one and I had this background and then the background got deleted, so now I can't find one. Okay. Thank you for the clarification. No, I'm just kidding. No, I was wondering the same thing too, but hey, it's all good, man. It's all good. So just a quick little backstory on Big Bertha. Found it on Marketplace one night. I was about to go to bed. It was about to be, maybe it was actually a little late past 12 o'clock in the morning. But I did one more quick pass through of Marketplace. It had just been posted like 20 minutes prior. I saw the price, $950, and I was like, okay. And then I saw what it was, $661, and I was like, whoa. And then they had a couple pictures, not very good pictures, but it was enough to see that it was a nice saw. And right there and then I knew I wanted to buy it. And so, but of course, you know, you see a certain price for a certain saw or for whatever it is, and, you know, it makes you wonder. It makes you wonder of the possibilities. We have some more people connecting right now. We got first generation farmer on the house. Welcome. Let's see, why does my 290 not stay starting or running when I just put new fuel in it and it was 10 degrees outside? Well, from what I know, and I don't know if the 290s had the same issue, but I mean, it could be a number of things, but one thing that I know about the 271s, the 291s, this is just something that I learned from when I was working at the power equipment shop that is part of Ace Hardware, but they have like their own little branch off. It's called the Supply Place. I do know that they watch my videos every now and then. So if they do watch this one, much love to you guys still. Could have had a great thing. We did. But anyways, what I understand is the 291s and the 271s from the factory, so from Stihl, they needed a slight idle adjustment. So they were a little low on the idle. So I don't know if that's what's going on in this case, but you can always try turning in the idle a little bit. So clockwise, you can start with like a 1/8 of a turn, you know, so basically increase the idle to see if that's what's going on. Or it could be a fuel delivery issue caused by metering diaphragm, which is essentially like the fuel pump. It could just be becoming stiff. So what happens when those metering diaphragms get really stiff, they're paper thin, probably thinner than paper, like a sushi. I always refer to those metering diaphragms like a sushi wrap, just thin. Rubber, of course, we know that gas is corrosive, especially against rubber. So what happens when they start stiffening, they can no longer, so everything is, the carburetor and everything works under pressure. It's all pressurized. So what happens is when they become stiff, they cannot go up and down. So sometimes when they get super stiff, like I refer to it, they get stuck kind of like on the closed off position. So that'll cause starting issues, running issues, like idling. If they stiffen up and they get stuck on the raised position, it'll start up, it'll idle, but what'll happen is when you give it throttle, it'll start bogging out because it's getting way too much fuel. So I hate to sound like a jerk, but you know, metering, you know, so that's what it does. It meters how much fuel is going into the carburetor. So it might be a metering diaphragm issue. Maybe if you've done any work to it lately, it could be maybe a pinched fuel line, clogged fuel filter. So you could always start by bumping up the idle and see if that helps the issue as far as idling. And then you'll definitely know if you have some sort of issue further issue once you start hitting the throttle. You'll just be able to tell. And if it's not the idling and you have further issues, then you might want to just pull your carburetor. It's fairly simple. We could actually go through it today in a moment. I actually have a carburetor here that I can show. And actually, you know what? Let's just get to that right now, because like I said, we're not on a strict schedule today. We're just kind of, it's been a couple days since I've been in the shop. I've been taking a couple days off. But let me just get through the story real quick. So I found Big Bertha here, 661C M-Tronic version, marketplace, $950. I was still working at the Ace Hardware. I said, hey, I want this saw, like, let's meet up. They drove an hour to me. We met at the shop. I didn't inspect it right away. I just tried to start it. It did try to turn over once, and then after that, it just wouldn't. I felt that the compression was a little off, so right there and then I was like, okay, well, could be some scoring going on. So a simple way that you can get an idea what the condition of your cylinder sleeve looks like is removing your spark plug with the flashlight. You know, bring the piston to, what is that, bottom center, or just make sure that you can see inside the sleeve, and you'll see if it's scoring or if it's scored. To really get an idea of how bad it is, you would have to pop off the cylinder, and then, you know, you can do the simple nail test and just run your nail over the score marks. And if it's hanging up on your nail, that would be considered a gouge, which a gouge is basically just a deep groove or indentation, and then that'll affect compression. Or sometimes it could just be transfer from the piston. So basically it's just markings from the piston coming in contact with the cylinder sleeve. So anyways, I looked at it, it was scored. I told the guy, I was like, look, like, I hate to tell you this, but I was like, you can look at it yourself. It's scored. I said, so, you know, I don't know. And he's like, well, what does that mean? I said, well, it just means that it's going to need a new engine. So new cylinder and piston. I said, so I don't know what you want to do. And he's like, well, I already came all this way. He's like, so I'd really hate to leave pretty much without not doing anything. And I would have gladly bought it no matter what for that $950. And I see a lot of comments, and I promise I'm not ignoring you guys. Let me just not get sidetracked real quick, because I already have an issue with that as it is. And so I said, look, and I felt really bad lowballing the guy even more, but you know, sometimes that's just what you have to do sometimes. I don't know. It doesn't hurt to try, right? And it's not even that you're lowballing. It's just an opportunity to get a better price. Even if he would have said no, $950, I would have taken it no problem, because these saws, I mean, they're what, out the door, $1,800 or something like that. I mean, right? So I said confidently, I was like, look, man, I can give, what about $800? He looked at his buddy, because he came with someone else, and he's like, all right, sure. So got it for $800. It was already a really nice saw. I had a bunch of parts laying around, like this air filter cover, the shroud, new rewind starter assembly, oil caps. So I basically, just for now, shits and giggles, and I had the West Coast clutch cover and the dogs. I basically just gave Big Bertha a nice little cosmetic makeover, so now it's even more nice. But everything else is really good. Unfortunately, I feel like they had it just long enough to have things go wrong. But anyways, so that's the story behind Big Bertha here. So getting into that carburetor real quick, the first generation is still here. And either way, it's something good to know. So I already have, just because I already have a carburetor here from a 201 that I'm doing some servicing on, some service on. I cleaned it up. It's the one that I just posted on our channel here, the shorts. Gave it a nice cleaning. Okay, 201 carburetor, M-tronic version. One way to know if your saw is an M-tronic version is Stihl models, professional models, so 261 and up, so 261, 362, 400, 462, yada yada. The C means that it will have M-tronic. It's basically to identify that it has a comfort feature. So in this case, comfort, I think it would mean more like just what would you say? Just easier operation, user operation. You know, you don't have to fuss with the adjustments. And in a perfect world, this carburetor is supposed to self-adjust based off of fuel mixture, elevation, maybe temperature. So just more gadgets. It has a solenoid valve, which that's the only difference. But it has everything else the same. Diaphragm, gaskets, all the good stuff. On other models that are not professional models, comfort feature would be like easy start. So that would be the CE version. Some saws now, mostly homeowner saws, from what I've seen, they have the easy chain adjust. So that would be the CBE. So if you see anything with the B, that means that it has that quick chain tension system, which at first I was like, oh, that's disgusting. But you know what? It's not bad. I actually have an 018 here. That was my grandfather's from the 90s, late 90s. And it has the quick chain adjust setup. And it's not horrible. Anyhow, so M-tronic carburetor, but it has everything the same. So if first gen is still here, let me just get through some of these comments real quick. And I apologize. I promise I'm not ignoring you guys. Chevy 5-speed. First of all, hello. So the one that I just had on the bench, that's a 661. It's a C, so it has this carburetor here, or this style carburetor. We did have a 500i. I didn't get a chance to cut anything with it. It was brand new. I bought it for myself as a little 1 year anniversary gift when I was working at the power equipment shop. But I ended up selling it because once we started doing our little shed shop thing here, I needed to invest into the business, parts, supplies, things like that. I really didn't want to sell it, but one thing I've learned is that sometimes, I don't want to call it a sacrifice because that sounds kind of dramatic, but I feel like, especially when we start up a business, or I would have sold it if a family member needed, we needed help for the family, I would have sold it, but ended up selling it. But it was a really nice saw, beautiful saw. It's literally my favorite saw. I am a Stihl fanboy as it is, but the 500i, there's nothing like it. Besides, obviously, it's fuel injected, but it's an amazing saw. But that was a 661. We're going to be working on a 461 shortly here, but I want to just show you guys this right now. 500s keep melting the chain brake handles off. I haven't seen that issue. I haven't, at least I haven't seen that here. I haven't heard of that issue. That's something I'm going to have to research and look into. Usually when that happens, and I've seen that happen in the shop, usually that's from leaving the saw on high, on the idle, on the high idle position. So it'd be like your half choke or whatever. And a lot of times I've seen that happen I've actually seen that happen with brand new saws. I've sold someone a 261 and they came back days later like, yo, what's going on? My, it's burning up. It just started smoking and it turned off. Well, technically you're supposed to start a saw with the chain brake on, not drop starting. I know everybody drop starts, but I'm just saying You're supposed to start a saw with the chain brake on. So what'll happen is maybe someone that's not super experienced with saws, which is totally fine. We're not all, even me, I'm not no expert. I'm just, you know, they think that the saw is just running, but really it's high throttle. So it's trying to spin. So they leave the chain brake on, and maybe they'll go and put their chaps on, go get ready. But the sprocket is still trying to turn, and obviously the brake band's on, and it will spin, but it'll have so much friction that it'll heat up. It'll start burning up part of the cover on the crankcase. So maybe people are just leaving the chain brake on, or yeah, but I don't know. I'll have to check into that and see what's really going on with that. To be honest, I have not ran a 400. I've sold a few 400s when I was working at the shop, but those are amazing saws, especially if you put a nice muffler on there, port them, they zip. They're good saws, great saws. So I live in Memphis, Tennessee. It's bad down here because there's a lot of gunshots. 11. Yeah, it's pretty crazy in the South. Okay, so let's help out first generation. Let's see if he's still here though. Either way, 261s are great, but here's what I think. The 261s are great, but I feel like if you could either maybe move into the 361, or excuse me, 362. They'd be sick if they were still 361s available. Or if you really could, I would jump into that 400. Very nice saw. It's a good groundsman saw. You can climb with it, and it has plenty of power. It could easily run a 28-inch bar. I think that's what they come with. Honestly, I feel like it could even pull a 32. No problem. Honestly, they have power. Light saw. Especially if somebody's considering a 362, I would say, you know what, man, the 362 is fine, but the 400, amazing saw. Anyhow, 261 would be great too, though. Okay. Depending on, so going back to like my sales days, I know we're getting a little sidetracked, but we'll get into this carburetor here in just a moment. There's not a whole lot to it. It all depends on what you're going to be cutting. I know that's kind of a silly, like, oh, I'm cutting wood, I'm cutting trees. Right. But it all depends on what kind of work you're going to be doing. If you're going to be, you know, falling trees, I would probably say, and it also depends on the size of the trees that you're going to be doing. You know, I would say, you know, if you're going to be cutting, you know, good sized trees, and you're going to be doing a lot of falling and whatever, maybe a 462 is a good start. If you're going to be mainly doing, you know, smaller trees around the house, firewood, I think the 400 would be amazing. The 261 would be a good firewood saw, but it just, again, it all depends on the level and how extensive you're going to be using the saw. If it's going to be something that you're going to be using a couple hours a day, maybe, you know, on the weekends or whatever, it all just depends on what you're going to be cutting, you know. If you're going to be taking down big trees, like 3 feet around, bigger, more or less, then yeah, 462, 500i. If you're going to be doing milling, then yeah, you're going to want, you know, something a little bigger. 661 would do the trick. 500i would do the trick probably, but it all just depends. The 500i, in my opinion, I know I just said I was a Stihl fanboy, but I personally believe the 500i, amazing saw. Great balance, light, almost nimble, if I could say, if that's even the right word. That's what I would always say. Even with the 32-inch light bar, or even a 32-inch regular bar, it's just going to be a really nice handling saw. Plenty of power. If you're into all that kind of stuff, if you put on a Egan straight shot muffler or West Coast muffler, it'll just make it that a little more better. I'm not going to say a huge difference, but it will make a difference. But again, if you're going to be just doing firewood, smaller trees around the yard or on your property, I think a 400 would be just fine. But it all just depends on what you're going to be doing. That's just my take on it. But the 500, I feel like that's just a great, just all around saw. You can climb with it. You can do firewood. Depending on like how extensive you're going to be milling, I would say it'd be great for, I mean, it's just great saw, man. Great saw. So anyways, I cut about 10 full cords a year, a lot of storm work and some tree climbing work. Yeah, I mean, I think the 400 would definitely be able to handle all that. But again, it also depends on the size of the bar that you would rather, that you want to run. If you want to run no more than a 28-inch bar between the 362 and the 400, I think the 400 would be the best because it just has that zip, it has power. So, but if you're going to be wanting to run anything higher than a 28, I know I said that, and this is just me being, I know that the 400 could probably run a 31 or a 32, but again, if you're going to be wanting to run a 32-inch bar, I would definitely start at least considering the 462 or even the 500i, depending on, just like, financial wise, because it's all an investment no matter what, but it all just depends on that. So, yeah, that's my kind of take. But if you're going to be running just the 28-inch bar, obviously the 462, the 500i, 661 can all run pretty much any size bar. You don't want to run too small of a bar because you don't want to be, high revving or whatever you want to call it, because that, you can burn up a saw that way too. Same thing as if you were to run too big of a bar. But if you're thinking just 28, I think the 400, honestly, I think the 400 would do the trick. But again, I don't know what size trees you're going to be cutting, but for storm cleanup and just climbing, I think the 400 is super solid. I think you'd be happier with that than the 261. And actually, I'll be honest with you. We all know the 260s, 261. I mean, they're reliable saws, but I think, I think the 400 would be, I don't know. I think that'd be, if I had the option starting with, I would go to the 400 for sure. Anyways, we'll keep talking more about that, but let me just show you guys how to get to the metering diaphragm, how to basically check the metering diaphragm. You'll be able to tell if it's still kind of pliable, and you'll be able to tell if it's stiff. So you're going to pull your carburetor. You're going to have two sides, this side here with one screw, and then the side with the 4. This is where you're going to be able to locate that metering diaphragm. So take a Phillips screwdriver. So we can do, let's see. Or flathead, because it has, it looks like a Phillips, but if you look, it has bigger slots for a flathead. But I just like Phillips better, and we'll go with this one. So you're gonna grab a screwdriver, whether it be Phillips or flathead, and you're just gonna go ahead and remove these 4 screws. And so, coming back to First Generation's issue, if it's cutting out, so when it cuts out, does it bog out and then cut out, or does it just kind of cut out? Because either way, it sounds like you're having a fuel delivery issue of some sort, either too much fuel or not enough. If it's not staying, if it's not idling, then my guess is you're not getting enough fuel. But it's kind of sounding like possibly your metering diaphragm might need to be just replaced. And it's very simple. It's, I know we all have different interpretations of definitions of cheap, but they're cheap. You can find metering diaphragms, depending on where you buy them from, anywhere from 15 to 20 bucks. If they're charging more than 20 bucks, even at the Stihl dealer, overpriced. So this one here, you can tell, because as you can see, it's kind of raised up. It's got a little bit of, sometimes it looks like they have like a little crinkle to them. that's already stiff. That's hardening. It's stiff. Okay. Apparently I can't talk today, but you see that? See those little crinkles and that little, this one's stiff. So even though the saw, I believe this one, they said does run, or maybe it doesn't. But either way, that's bad. You don't want that. You want it to be nice and pliable, and you'll be able to tell. But anytime you see this kind of stuff here, like that, some might refer to it as brittle. I just say it's stiff. But when it's staying like that, no good. So this one is going to get replaced. Anytime it's not, you can hear it. You hear that? Look. See how it's making that little, like, that little sound? A brand new metering diaphragm is soft to the touch and just, it won't be making any noise. But that one, no good. So you'll be able to tell. Being that it's an older saw, and you haven't done any maintenance on it or replacements, I think a diaphragm replacement might do the trick, assuming that everything else is good. Your fuel lines are good. For just shoots and giggles, you could always try replacing your fuel filter. It might just be clogged. The Stihl filters, fuel filters, there's actually a way to check to see how dirty they are. You can actually remove where the little barb is, or the nipple. It's a little difficult, but you can separate it, and you can actually get access to the filter and see how dirty it is. Either way, you can always just try replacing the fuel filter and see if that helps anything. But it sounds like you might be having a metering diaphragm issue. So, but yeah, that's pretty much it. And then that's what the inside of your carb looks like. When you do go ahead and pull your metering diaphragm, just make sure everything else is good. Like the little needle here, make sure that it's still, you see how it's going back up, and it's like moving up and down. If that doesn't do that, then you might have to replace the needle. There's also typically there's a little screen also. I don't know if it might be on this side. I think it's on this side. We'll pop it open just to see. There's also a screen usually. Make sure that that's not all just gummed up and dry, because what happens with fuel, when it sits, it dries up, it evaporates, but sometimes it turns into like a gel kind of consistency. I learned that when I was into nitro RC cars. I left fuel in my RC car. It was a Revo, a Traxxas Revo that I rebuilt. I put an OS engine, badass engines, and I left fuel in my fuel lines, and just there was fuel. I went to go start it up, and it wouldn't start. So I'm like, what the hell's going on? Of course, I looked inside the fuel line, because they're transparent, and I noticed like that something was in there. And then I kind of squished it together, and I noticed it was kind of a gel consistency. Cleaned it out, and sure enough. So that's where I learned that fuel goes bad, because I didn't know. I honestly didn't know. Especially in vented fuel tanks, like most everything. Cars don't have that. That's why obviously gas does go bad. It starts degrading, but that's why in cars you can leave fuel in there for a very long time and nothing will happen. Once you replace your metering diaphragm, this is also very important. I was almost forgetting to say this part, because it's very important. So when you remove the cover, this little top plate here, the diaphragm, if you notice, this part here is facing down. Okay. I've made that mistake before, where I go to replace the diaphragm and I put the side where the holes are on the top, and then boom, not going to work. So make sure this side faces down. And then also too, different carburetors will have different holes. Just make sure you're aligning everything accordingly. This side, it doesn't seem like it really matters. It's just 4 holes where the screws go in. So I could put it in that way or this way, but make sure it's facing down, like so. You can buy a carburetor rebuild kit for, depending on, you know, where you buy it and the Stihl dealer. Just the metering diaphragm alone, $15 to $18. I would say just $20 just to be on the safe side. Or you can spend the extra, maybe like $7 or so, and get the rebuild kit, which has the diaphragm. This is also a gasket. There's also a gasket that goes here. So, or you can just get the metering diaphragm. I would just get the rebuild kit, because in order to lift up the diaphragm from the gasket, you may run into a chance of damaging the gasket. So I would just put everything new. But really what you're after is the metering diaphragm. So make sure it's facing down, like so. And then just make sure you have the orientation of these little, I don't know, little things here the right way. And then you put on your four screws, tighten them down, and you should be good to go. And that's pretty much it. Let's see. My bad. I'm sorry, guys. I'm missing all the comments here. Edison Garl says, shout me out and I'll like the vid. If you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. But Edison, much love to you. So, and I apologize. I'm not trying to be an asshole. That's just, I don't really, we're not really here for the likes. So we're just here to just show some stuff. Anyhow, moving on. It barely stays idling or never stays idle. So yeah, my guess, so the role or the job of the metering diaphragm, with the pressure, it's supposed to go up and down. So my guess, it has become so stiff that it can no longer even move up slightly. You see how it's going up? So my guess, it's stuck in the downward position, or closed, so no fuel can get into the carburetor. So that's why you might be having some starting issues, like it doesn't start right away. Definitely some idling issues. So probably good chance it's going to be your metering diaphragm. Again, assuming that everything else is good, your fuel lines. When you replace your metering diaphragm, I would just definitely replace your fuel filter, especially if you haven't done any like general service or maintenance in a while. Check your air filter, make sure it's not clogged. And yeah, you should be good to go. If you really wanted to get down to it, you could always do a pressure and vac test on your lines and everything, and make sure that everything is good. But most of the time, from what I see, is metering diaphragm. But yeah, I would just do, at that point, I would just do a good general service. I would have, a lot of the times, customers would come into the shop that I used to work at. Not so much here anymore, just because everybody that comes through, you know, they watch my videos, and they, you know, I do my best to like educate. But when I was working at that shop over there at Ace Hardware, a lot of the times customers would come in, and even like professional chainsaw users, like, you know, tree service guys, and they would be like, well, maybe it's just they would buy a spark plug, and I would always ask, like, oh, like, are you doing maintenance on your equipment, or what do you know, just to see, you know. They're like, no, I'm having starting issues, or I'm having running issues. And it's usually, from what I see, it's never the spark plug. I think spark plugs are the most resilient thing, like one of the most resilient parts of a piece of equipment, unless it's damaged or anything like that. Usually it's fuel related, old fuel, carburetor issue, sometimes ignition issues, like maybe the ignition module is faulting out, or it's just not, you know, it's lost its life. But most of the time, it was always bad fuel, using old fuel, or carburetor issues. So And there have been times though where I've replaced also metering diaphragms, and it still doesn't solve the problem. Sometimes carburetors just, especially like the regular carburetors that have the high and low needles, sometimes over time, just grime will build up in the threads of the jets of the needles, and sometimes the carburetors do need to be replaced. But most of the time though, it's going to be the metering diaphragm, and of course make sure you're using good gas. Chevy 5-speed, what state are you in? So I'm in California. I'm here in Windsor, California. It's here in Sonoma County, aka the wine country. Although I think most of us know that the real wine country is in Italy. So, but that's kind of what we're known for out here is wine, and now breweries apparently. And 5-speed, yeah, with ethanol gas, I mean, all gas is corrosive, but ethanol is nothing nice. In my personal saws, I run ethanol free, so I run the VP. It's 94 octane ethanol free, and I mix in AMS oil. This stuff right here, AMS oil, full synthetic. It's the Sabre. I like it a lot. I know everybody has different experiences, but this is what I run in my personal saws. 50-to-1 ratio. I just keep it 50-to-1. I don't try to mess around. Even when they claim, you know, that you can run, you know, different ratios, I just 50-to-1. If my saw calls for 50-to-1, it's 50-to-1. If it calls for 40-to-1, like older chainsaws, I run 40-to-1. For one, I don't have the money to be experimenting. I mean, honestly, I mean, I just follow the book. I just follow the recommendations. It's better safe than sorry. And even then, sometimes shiza happens, you know, but this is what I run. All of my customers, I call them customers, but they're all buddies at this point. But, you know, I cater to tree service companies. So the ethanol free fuel is expensive. And hold on a second. We got Aaron Lynch in the house. My friend, how you doing today? I'm glad to have you here. It's been a minute. I hope you and all has been well. I hear there's a lot of deer action going on out there, so I'm hoping that the eating is good. Although I know we do all right in that category there. The man says, I use ATF in my 2-strokes. I've never heard of ATF, but guys, just real quick though, if you guys aren't familiar or know who Aaron is, and you guys like chainsaws and porting and just chainsaws, that's the go-to man right there. I am very honored to be able to call him a buddy of mine, buddy and friend. He says he's just a dude, and that's fine, but to me, he's the man. Very knowledgeable, and so he's saying ATF. I always consider his recommendations, and I listen to the man, and so I might have to look into that. Of course, I'm kidding about ATF. Oh, this guy. But no, but all jokes aside, I always look to Aaron for advice and help, and he's always, you know, very kind and willing to help. And yeah, man, we know you're just a dude, all right, but you're the dude, okay? So anyhow, but that's also why I love the man, because he's not full of shit, all right? And he's consistent, and I've been watching his videos for quite some time. I stumbled across Aaron when I realized that I love this chainsaw stuff, and especially when I started looking into porting and seeing what that was all about, and I just kept finding myself gravitating back to his channel, and eventually I realized, like, you know what, I like this dude, I like his style. Anyways, long story short, if you guys like good chainsaw action, maybe check out his channel and see what the man can do with chainsaws. So He does everything. Porting, that's like a specialty, and then just everything else, general services and everything else. So like I said, I'm very fortunate and grateful to be able to have Aaron as a buddy now. It's crazy. I still think it's crazy. So anyways, and hopefully one day we can meet. You know, I'm planning on maybe next year making it out to the Paul Bunyan show. I think Sawfest is happening right now, isn't it? Or I don't know. But next year though, hopefully I can make it out and meet Aaron, and you know, maybe Ground Pounder will be out there, and just all our fellow chainsaw guys, builders, and yeah, that'd be awesome. The man definitely makes chainsaws go vroom vroom, believe me. And he does them all. As far as whatever he gets, he does his thing. Of course, just like anybody and anything, it's not always smooth sailing, but I mean, don't take my word for it. Like I said, if you have a second, check him out. Check him out. So anyways, this is what I use here. AMSoil. But in my opinion, I mean, obviously there's different qualities. Brands make different qualities, but if you're out there ripping hard, a full synthetic, I would just say full synthetic. Don't waste your time with no synthetic blend and whatever. So anyways, guys, that's how you can check your metering diaphragm. And first generation, if you're still here, let us know. Let me know what you think, or let me know if that helps. Either way, I'm here to help as best as I can. Just, I know there's no messaging feature here on YouTube, I don't think, which I think that would be something cool that they should maybe incorporate, or maybe it's a good thing. But just drop a comment, first generation, if you need further help, and I can do my best to help you. I have my aunt pulling up right now, but we got things to do, so I might just say hello and anything. So there might be a little, but right now we're going to get into that 461 and just remove the cylinder. Because like I said, you guys are going to want to check out this piston. It ain't nothing. It's juicy. So that's what we got. And then we're going to move into our big Bertha chainsaw and do the same. Just remove the cylinder, because I haven't taken the time or had a real chance to like go through it and see how bad the scoring is. Because like I said, we might get lucky and might just be able to clean it up a little bit. Sawfest is in October, right after the Bunyan show. Okay, maybe I was looking at some older videos. First generation, I got you, man. I got you. As best, you know, all I can do is my best. So like I said, there's no messaging service or feature here on YouTube, but just drop a comment on any of the videos and I'll get to you as soon as I can. So October, yeah, okay. Next year, that's my goal. That's my goal. Brian Martin says, oh, wow, that's kind of mean. I'm not really sure who we're referencing to, but the Brian Martin says he's a bragger. Moving on. Brian, I hope you're doing well today. Don't know if you celebrate holidays, but I hope you have a good Merry Christmas with your family, and I hope we all hope that you're doing well. We appreciate your 2 cents, but we're moving on. So Brian, stay well out there, my friend. I always have a saying that you know, when people talk about you or talk about someone else, to me, and call me full of shit, call me egotistical, but I think when people talk about others, it's because they're doing something. They're doing something significant. And anyways, moving on. First generation, appreciate you, my friend. Appreciate the love and support. So let's go ahead and get on with this 461. I know this live stream isn't going to be super, we're not going to have a real structure. It's laid back. We're just doing our thing. I'm going to try to get a little work done. So anyways, one thing I like about certain Stihl saws is some saws you have to pop the molding off, but on these 461s, all you got to do is remove that T27 and you're good to go. Oh, I lied. It's not a T27. It's like a T20 something. T25, T20? I don't know. This guy right here. So there we are. Hey, Nina. So we got our one of my favorite things here. Not this brand specific, but these metal trays, magnetic trays. It'll save you a headache from having your screws going everywhere in case you bump it. But so yeah, you just remove that. It is a Torx. I just don't know. I don't remember the actual size of it. A thin little flathead should do the trick, just to kind of pop it off. Something like that should be good. And there you go. There's your molding. Oh yeah. I just finished doing one a few days ago. I clean everything that comes in. It's just my little touch that I like to do. But this one and the other three that I need to do, they're dirty. Like dirty. Everything else to me now is kind of like, yeah, it's dirty, but it's just kind of normal. But a few of these saws that came in, okay, so there you go. So that'll give you access to your throttle, or excuse me, to your lockout lever. You can just pop it off. Don't worry about the spring here because it'll stay intact. When you open up the moldings for like the 201s, be prepared because linkages will just fly out everywhere. And for some reason, for me, they still throw me for a loop. So anyhow, so we're gonna go ahead and remove the linkage. Okay, there we are. All right, first gen, much love to you. Thank you for being here. And yeah, like I said, if you have any further questions or need help, just drop a comment on any video or this live, and either way, I'll get the notification, and I got you covered as best as I can. All right. So one thing that I always do, I like safety glasses. Some might say, but I've had some close encounters, okay? Especially pulling carburetors, fuel lines. Everything has been flushed, but I've had times, and you never know, things can happen. So, oh, and the other thing is, let's go ahead and pull off this little grommet here, or little. So there you go. That'll just help everything come out a little easier. Make sure to not pull or tear your impulse line right here. Just kind of hold it with one hand. Ooh, see? We had a little spew there coming out. There's nothing, but you never know. Or is that the impulse? I don't know. Just hold it with one hand, just so you're not pulling it and tearing anything. So there it is, wall carburetor. I think I hear the mailman. And I hope that what I'm waiting for in the mail shows up, because that would definitely help. Not to brag or boast, but I'm waiting for a little quiche. Okay, I'm actually gonna go check the mail because I'm actually kind of wondering if it's actually part of the payment for this saw and two other saws that I'm doing for a company called Vintage Tree Service. And I know everything's gonna come out well. I'm not saying it's gonna be smooth sailing, but I know everything's gonna come out well. But these saws right here, if everything turns out well and they like what we do for them, it's a very big tree service company, and they have a lot of saws. So I talked to the owner. So the work, the man Tino brought them, but I ended up talking to his boss, and he's like, look, he basically told me, like, indirectly, if everything comes out good and they're good as far as running, He honestly doesn't care if they're all clean and shiny, but that's what we do. But he's like, if they come out good, he's like, I got plenty more saws, plenty more saws. So let me go check that mail real quick. 1 second, guys. Yes, sir. Still a great day regardless. But it's here. Okay. Anyways. Man, it couldn't have came at a better time. He did tell me though, and I know he's a serious guy. He's like, look, he's like, all right, because I just recently for the shop, I now have a customer management software, so now I can do like legit invoices, estimates, so that way I can send them out. Because I've been starting to get some bigger companies. Because everybody that comes in is just like fellow chainsaw guys, but they work for tree companies. But I've been getting actual like tree service companies, but they want more like, you know, legit invoices and estimates for record keeping. So now we have a good invoicing system, payment system. So we can now do credit card payments, online payments, and so his name is Fred from Vintage Tree, and he's like, you know what? He's like, you know, they do everything kind of like real business, you know, and so he's like, yeah, he's like, cool. He's like, well, just let me know what I owe you and what we need to do to get everything. And he's like, I'll cut a check and I'll send it off. And so last week he's like, all right, he's like, I'll send off a check to you and you should get it in a couple days. And we've been patient, but yeah, I mean, especially during the holidays, you know, you kind of look out for it a little more. But anyways, we got it. And let me give you guys a little preview of what our invoices look like, because this is like crazy. I mean, we're just a little shed shop, but you know, we're a business, man. So let me just give you guys a oh, and we now have a preferred SawWorks domain. So all I have to do now is actually design a website. But that's I literally just bought a domain because I needed it to link my bank account to the payment system and whatnot. But a website would be kind of cool, but it's not really a priority right now. Let me just show you guys what this looks like. So right now I just have, these are like the first batch of invoice or estimates in this. So let me just show you guys. So yeah, this is what our invoices look like now. What? Well, that's cool, huh? I think that's freaking cool. Anyways, we're like a real shop now, guys. All right. Anyways, but it's still a great day. Something that I started doing, and it's not to be all like New Year's resolution person. I just, you know, I just want to start feeling better. I feel good, but I made the decision to start going on walks since I'm not getting into my gym anymore, just because it's not really in the budget right now. It's kind of expensive. I go to a nice gym, but it's like $85 a month. So walking is great. So I started yesterday. My goal right now is a walk in the morning, either before breakfast or after breakfast. And then another walk either late afternoon, evening time. So we went on our morning walk. We got beautiful weather, feeling good. Started up the vitamins again, just general vitamins. And anyhow, so let's go ahead and get the cylinder, because I'm telling you, this piston, obviously I'm basically saying, without actually saying it, that it's not good. But this is the first time I've seen this, even when I was working at the other shop. So remove this little ring here. Oh, this thing here. Actually, we can put that over there. And then there's another little ring here that goes inside the boot. Put that over there. And that's pretty much it. Other than now just removing the handle. I don't know if it's necessary to remove the handles, but give yourself more space, more working space if you can. Plus, it's more practice, and either way, removing the handles aren't so bad. So it's just 2 T27s here, and then 2 T27s down here. And I actually came across one instance doing a 500i where the handle actually did kind of interfere with, not so much. It did interfere a little bit, and why struggle if you don't have to? So just take them off, and there's really nothing to it. I know brands do things differently, but it's all pretty much the same. And again, it's just more practice, right? And you will never forget what hardware goes for the handles, because they're very different. So it's like a self tap, and then it's got this little end, or whatever you want to call it. And I know I've always talked my little game about, oh, you don't need power tools to work on chainsaws except for removing flywheels and clutches. And even then, I'm sure there's a way to do it without it. But for that, I do use my little Team Yellow DeWalt impact. But I've done quite a bit of, I've worked at quite a bit of, jobs where I've used my hands a lot. And I'm still young, right? But I don't know, man. Sometimes my hands feel a little like, ugh. So I'm thinking maybe just to save my hands a little bit, I think I might eat my own words. And yeah, but we'll see. It would probably save a lot of time, especially removing muffler bolts, certain bolts and screws. They're tight, man. They're snug, and you're just sitting there, and that's when my hands just start kind of like, ugh. Anyways, so we might be investing in a nice little T27 bit, because I already have. So I have this. This is what I use for clutches and flywheels. I bought it as a set for super cheap, and I was going to resell it, but nobody wanted it, and so I just kept it there. It came with a bag, and I think that one came with 1 or 2 batteries, a 2-amp battery, or is it 2.5? 2 amp. I think it came with 1. And then I have another DeWalt set that I also got for a very good price, and I was going to resell it. It's a 12 volt, so that's what I would use to remove just general screws. That one comes with also, and it also came with a charger. And then the other set that I have that's still brand new in a box, it's a 12 volt, comes with 2 2-amp batteries, the carrying case or storage case or bag, and a charger. I just don't have a bit, but I do like using just regular tools. But like I said, lately I've been feeling my hands a little a little different, but we'll see. I can always just use it for like the screws that are really tight and snug and they're kind of longer. Usually it's muffler screws or, you know, things like that. But I guess we do got to try to protect our body, I guess, as best as we can. But I don't know. And yeah, that's pretty much it. This one has the full wrap. And all we got to do at this point is undo the 4 mounting screws. Ooh, we're leaking a little gasolina. Just whatever is left over inside the good old ethanol gas. I used to really like the smell of gas, but since working with different grades of gas and bad gas, I'm kind of over it. But I still like it. I'm not like, ooh. Okay. So we got, okay, 4 T27s. You don't really need a whole lot of special tools to work on chainsaws. So like for instance, this T27 Stihl, T27 driver wrench or whatever you want to call it, driver screwdriver, whatever, T27. The only reason I bought this one was because if you're going to be removing cylinders, for the most part, you can do everything with your scrunch tool. But to get down into the cylinder screws, mounting screws, the scrunch has like a little lip, and so it will not allow you to go all the way down. So I already knew this tool, and it's comfortable, and it's magnetic as well. But I'm sure anything regular T27 will do the trick, or it will. And then the only other thing, ooh, that screw was loose. Oh, one of the mounting screws was loose, and I haven't touched these screws yet. And also I'm noticing that this saw has been through the ringer because it has a plug on the for this spark plug. So this thing has been through the ringer, unless that's just how they are, but I don't think so. Don't think so, bud. Anyways, the only other thing that I've had to buy like special is I bought this Stihl 8mm socket, and the reason is because like 261s, 291s, I think 271s, they have like that intake carburetor plastic piece, and I'm sure there are sockets that are like thin and small in diameter, but a standard like what I have here, like a regular socket, it won't fit in those little holes to take out the 8mm nuts. But these are comfortable tools. They hold up well. I mean, they've been holding up well. Don't really remember the price here. We'll figure that out later. I've known people that just kind of like sand down their socket, but I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do all that. I probably could have saved a few bucks doing that, but anyhow. And actually, I'm not even going to remove the piston. I'm just going to remove the cylinder. That way also I can see how bad the scoring is, if we got gouges or if it's just markings. And then just go ahead and push your boot through here. Some of the boots will be a little more stiff, but these are pretty good. Let's just push it on through. Push it on through. And lift your life away. But this thing got extremely hot because the coloration, I'll show you guys right now, but this thing got way too hot, which I have another story to tell. And this is regarding about a saw that I just replaced some stuff on. And it's just like, wow, dude. It's a 200T also, but like I said, we'll get into that in a minute. You could always run, you could always use gasket maker for the base gasket, but I always just do my best to not damage anything. So there's your base gasket. Put that over here to the side. Let's go ahead and let's go ahead and remove these screws. And something that I like to do with certain hardware, like let's see here, Hamid, hello. For certain hardware like muffler screws and just certain screws, I like to mark just so I know where they're coming from. So like these, even though there's not a whole lot of other hardware that looks like this, but I like to mark them just so I know what is what. Even though I you know, I will most of the time remember, but just to play it safe, so I just use a paint marker. I'm using the red now because the white is just kind of kaput. And I'll mark it where it's not dirty. So I'll just down here, and where I'm not going to be touching it and run the risk of it coming off. But either way, I'll remember what this is. But just for my peace of mind, my little brain, okay, just mark it, and mark it on the bottom of the head. Because sometimes muffler screws will be kind of the same, just depends on, oh man, this one's getting dirty too. Shit. Hold on a second here, people. Oh, I just took the whole thing out. All right, we're good. Let's settle down. Okay, that's how I will indicate that those are for the cylinder. Okay. Oh yeah. Wow. I'm going to show you guys right now what I'm looking at, but wow. This thing got extremely hot. And man, okay. Before I show you guys, I know I'm like teasing you guys a little bit because I keep telling you guys, man, this piston, you've never seen nothing like it. Or maybe you have, I don't know. Me personally, haven't seen anything like this come by the shop. Let's see. Hamid says Stihl 440. Close. 461. I do have a an 044 here though, 044C, which from my understanding they're kind of rare. But yeah, 462 here. Oh man. So the thing of it here, man. This one's going to be a little tricky to figure out because, okay, so I know you're not going to be able to see it very well, but you see the squish band? You see all that funkiness going on in there? That's not good, obviously. So the actual sleeve, Dave. Hey, my name is David as well. Dave says you're doing it wrong. Wrong. So I know Dave is just joking. I know. Merry Christmas to you and everybody. I don't know anybody that celebrates or observes the holiday. So as far as the actual sleeve, it does have some slight markings, and oh yeah. So my buddy MG, he's a Stihl mechanic, or was. I mean, he still works on small engine stuff. He was here during the live stream when I was doing the inspection here, and I was saying how I don't know how that could have happened. I didn't really think about it, and then luckily he was here, and I'm feeling the exhaust port right now, and yeah, there's some significant damage. And some of you might be able to guess what's going on here. Ah, speaking of MG. Well, MNG, but I'm just going to say MG. Much love to you, my friend. Merry Christmas Eve. Assuming that you celebrate or acknowledge or observe the holiday. We're going through that 461. Don't give it away quite yet, but we're going through that 461 that I was like, man, I don't know how the hell this happened. I've never seen anything like this. The piston one. Just taking off. Look at the squish band first of all, so we know some stuff went down inside this thing. You speculated how it could have happened, and I think what you said, I mean, I'm not doubting. I'm just saying that I think you're dead on what happened, because I'm just feeling the whoa, what's he doing over there? What? Yeah, so check out that squish band. Look at all that. And you can clearly see there's a lot of a lot of stuff in there. A lot of stuff. Oh, and I was going to show you guys the cylinder head. Look how discolored that is. So this thing got nice and toasty. That's what I call it. Nice and toasty. Bistoff, nah. Sorry, Hamad. I'm not really sure. My friend. I don't really understand, but much love to you. Thank you for being here. This thing got way toasty, as you can see. So yeah, the squish band though, some of you might be able to, or MG might be able to, can tell what's going on, because you know he's got an eye for this stuff too. But that's not how the squish band's supposed to look like. And if you really look closely, we have. Listen to that. Listen. I don't know if I can get it on camera, but hold on. Well, actually, I'll show you guys, because actually I might be able to clean this up here, but just so I can show you guys, and then you guys will see like what in the world. Oh, that's stuck on there. Okay, that's what the top of the squish band sounds like. You hear that hang up? It's not supposed to do that. But check this out. This is where it really gets interesting here. Metal particles. So as far as the actual sleeve goes, it was starting to mark up a little bit, but I don't feel any gouging. So even at the top there. So worst case, you know, the best thing we can do, well, not the best thing, but one thing we can do just for good measure is just hit it with some fine sandpaper. Boom, boom, boom. Hamid, yes, sir, 461. And that'll be fine. Just for precautionary, But okay, let me show you guys now what's going on, or what happened. This is where it gets good. Look at the piston. MG already knows about this, but we're actually diving into it today just to see. But look at this, guys. Look at that. That's nice. That's good work right there. So part of the piston at the top and the ring, piston ring, broke right off. And MG was his theory is that the piston ring came in contact with the exhaust port, and I think that's exactly what happened, because the cylinder sleeve is fine. It does have some markings, but if we really wanted to, we could just hit it with some fine sandpaper, some Scotch-Brite, clean that up just clean that right up, and that'll be fine. But the exhaust port, and you can kind of see it from in here. You see that? I don't know if you can see it very well, but yes, I do believe, I have suspicion to believe that it just got so hot that the piston rings just got, what would it be, like loose, expanded, because metal expands with heat. Either way, MG said, oh, I think, because I was like, dude, I have no idea how this could even happen. And he's like, I think the piston ring came in contact with the exhaust port, and it just lifted that right off. And it was obviously getting very hot, because the intake side of the piston is fine, perfectly fine, no significant discoloration. But the exhaust side of the piston is just, man, toasty. Look at that. So, and the piston got so hot that I think, yeah, the piston ring hung up on the exhaust port, and being that, I mean, it's already pretty, it's not as soft as cylinder metal, but anyways, chipped right off. And you know, the saw stayed running for a while, and it totally just like melted and just crushed up that piston in there, because I think that's what what all that marking is, and all that those little bumpies are in there. As you guys can probably see, I don't know if you can, but there's a piece of the piston sitting right here, like melted on there. So I think it just and so MG was telling me the last time, you know, check the crankcase and see what's going on, or check inside, and it's clean in there, man. It's clean. So this thing just bounced up, the piece of piston bounced up and down in there. It was so hot that it just started melting away, probably, because that's what it looks like in here. It just started melting away and breaking up. Let me, oh, I don't have the flashlight right now, but either way, nothing in there. That's crazy. They were beating the crap out of this saw, which is fine. Like, you know, they can take a beating, but sheesh, man. So I just don't know, because at this point, if the squish band did not look, oh, my bad, let's see. That's a needle bearing on the piston head, I think, and lower rod side. So that could be. I mean, let's see. Well, at this point, let's go ahead and pop off the piston, because what I can feel on the actual lower end of the crankshaft, the lower bearing, just to my common sense, I mean, it seems to be fine, but we'll see what this needle bearing looks like. Yeah, on the bottom of the, where it connects to the rod. But if the squish band didn't look like that, maybe there's a way that I can clean it up, possibly, But if it wasn't like that, I mean, the exhaust port damage would be, I feel like, easily fixed. I can just hit it in there with like a burr and just maybe clean it up a little bit. I mean, it's not, it's actually not horrible. I could just probably clean that up a little bit. But the squish band, that's the only thing that I'm having a kind of some thoughts on. Like, I don't know. Maybe I can clean it up, I think. Because other than that, like I said, cylinder sleeve itself, to my knowledge, it's fine. There's no gouges. Yeah, some markings, probably just from obviously being ran a little too hot. But if we really wanted to, which I would at this point, just hit it with a little bit of sandpaper, just, you know, just a little bit, and it'll be fine. Cylinder head is fine. But the piston, though, that thing is obviously, we can't do nothing about that. If there's, swing the connecting rod left to right multiple times to check if there's any slack. There is some play left and right. But I thought to my understanding, a little play isn't bad. But because I feel like a lot of saws, yeah, it does move left and right. It does slide left and right. But I've had quite a few saws. But as far as like moving it, I mean, really the best way to even do that would probably just to be opening, like splitting the case and checking it all out. But I'm gonna pop the cylinder off and see what that looks like. Yeah, we're gonna take off the piston. I'm gonna take off the piston right now and just see what the condition of that bearing looks like. But either way, with the new piston that we'd order, it is gonna come with a new bearing. It usually comes with a new sliding pin and or whatever they call it, and a bearing. But the lower crank bearing, let me put some put these on here real quick. Let me see if I can get this screwdriver in here. And it will come in with some new clips, but I don't want to lose it if I can help it. There we go. Come on. It's halfway out. Oh. Hold on a second. There it is. Oh, this one got bent. It's my first one that I've ever bent. Sure it won't be my last. Let's see. Budsville in the house. What up, my friend? Good to see you. It's been a minute. Merry Christmas to you as well. Yeah, so I already checked the bearing. I mean, it's, like I said, from what I can tell, I mean, from what I understand is that, you know, for roller bearings, a little A little horizontal play is okay. I mean, obviously if you have, you know, some vertical play, not very good. You know, like 201s and 200Ts, they have horizontal play, and that's fine. Obviously, if it's very significant, probably not good. But I've always had that knowledge, or that thought anyhow. But from what I can see inside the crank, it's fine. But let's see what that, either way, I'm going to check that this bearing here. Either way, it's going to get replaced with the new piston when it comes in. But if I could salvage the cylinder head, I just got to find a way to clean up that squish band. Never had to clean up a squish before, but we'll see what we can do. Budsville, man, how's everything? Oh, probably going the other way, because this clip is still in. Give it a couple more tappy taps. I've been good, man. Everything's been good. Thankfully, yeah, everything is good. Steady, just cruising right now these days, and started incorporating walks in my day just to get a little more exercise and moving, and just because we haven't been in the gym in a while, and probably won't be in the gym for a little bit, just because there's other more important things to invest in right now. I know health is an important thing, but so I've been just going on walks. Right now the goal is 1 in the morning and 1 in the afternoon or evening time. It's only been day 2, or today's day 2, but everything's been good. And along with the other little lifestyle changes that we've been talking about, which they're still going good. Somehow I have that's right, exactly. And a lot of people think, oh, walking ain't gonna do nothing. Walking is actually walking is very good. So there's the connecting pin, sliding pin, whatever we want to call that. I don't actually know the term for it. So this is the piston that we're rocking with here. Check that out. It's probably the worst piston I've had in a minute. And Budsville, we've managed to find and get ourselves a girlfriend. Imagine that. She's a great lady. Great lady. Anyhow, so there's our needle bearing. Fully intact, looking good. Either way, this one will get replaced with the new, once we get the new piston. And let's see. Show me the top of the piston again. Yeah, no, this piece out here, that's part of the piston. That's part of the piston, man. That ain't no. That's definitely not a roller. That's definitely a piston. Either part of the ring. It actually looks. That's actually a part of the ring. Because it's like flat and definitely part of the ring. Because everything else is intact minus this little piece right here where it hung up and snagged up. But yeah, I'm glad it's not the bearings, man, because I don't want to have to split a case. And thankfully I haven't had to thus far. Because yeah, it feels smooth. It feels good. And there's no other debris in there. There's nothing in there. But either way, we got to check everything just to make sure. But like, so there's the exhaust port side. Very hot. Gougey because it's hanging up on my nail. That's what I consider a gouge. Probably could clean that up. But no, we can't do anything with this here. So for sure it needs a new piston. And but like I said, if I can find a way to clean up that squish band, because this cylinder is good minus that squish band. It's not very good. If I had like if I lived closer to Aaron Lynch here on YouTube, guys, if you guys don't know, awesome dude. I'm very fortunate and honored to be able to call him a buddy of mine. If I lived close to him, I'd be like, Aaron, man, help me out with some machining real quick, and we just machine this thing. Or if I had someone else that was close by, we can just clean it up, do a little machining on there. But I could always send it to him. Oh, there's an idea. There's an idea. It would still save me some money than having to buy a whole new top end for this thing. Which, actually, thinking about it, I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to consider doing that. Because this is fine. Cylinder sleeve is fine. Exhaust port, yeah, it's got a little something on there, but I'm sure we can clean that up as well. Now inspect the lower bearing with the flashlight. Well, I don't really, I could see it fine. I can see it just fine without the flashlight. Plus, I don't even have my flashlight here right now, but I can definitely see it. And everything looks intact. All the rollers look like they're there. Yeah, they're all there. Now I'm going to slide it to the other side. And it feels good. It feels like a normal. So I feel pretty confident that it's not going to be the lower bearing. It's just that's all just the part of the piston head and the freaking and the ring. That's crazy, man. That's insane. I have never seen that before. I mean, obviously I've seen it now, but take a pick and spin the bearing. Take a pick? What do you mean? I'm not really sure what we're doing at this point. But yeah, that bearing looks good. Because all the rollers are there and everything is good. So anyhow, interesting. I'm just curious how it would have snagged up in the port. That's something else. That is something else. Use a spin the bearing. All right. Let's see here. Yeah. Spinning good. Feels good to my knowledge. I know I'm not, you know, certified Stihl mechanic, but no, I mean, I feel like it's good. Spinning freely. No tension, no nothing, no unnecessary friction from what I can feel. Yeah. I don't know, sir. I think we're okay. I think. But yeah, it's spinning freely. Either with the, you know, with the pick. Yeah. And I'll show you guys what we're looking at here. And no, I definitely take MG's word for it too, because you know he told me he's a tech, and a lot of people, I don't think, just go around saying that, because I would have had that 100 times already. Like, oh, I'm a certified. Like, you either are or you're not. There's no real. That's what we're looking at in there. No weird noises. Like I said, we do have some horizontal play, but when I'm actually trying to do some vertical play, there's no vertical play, just a little horizontal play there. So I'm wiggling it right now without sliding it left and right. I'm wiggling it left and right. And that's how much wiggle we got. That's like a gentle wiggle, wiggle, and then like a full-on. That's like barely now wiggling it, and that's like full top center. I think that's what they refer to it as. Hamid, thank you for all the love, my friend. I'm sorry I wish YouTube would have a translation feature, so I know what you're saying. Bam. But yeah, some serious business here with this 461, man. That's some crazy work. That's some good stuff. And MG, I appreciate you showing me some tricks, because you know, I usually just spin it and kind of move it to the side and move the crankshaft a little bit, but I've never actually held, I'll be honest, I've never held the connecting rod and then used the pick to see how it moves freely. So I appreciate for that insight. And see, this is why we need more people like MG, because they just do their best to help and share the knowledge. And that's what we're here for, to share the knowledge. Because I mean, I don't know, who are we? Well, speaking for myself, who am I to ever withhold information from anybody or not want to show somebody, like, nah, man, like, that's, I don't know. Maybe that's the problem with the world, is that everybody's just so, like, you know, I don't know, interesting times. But yeah, no, I appreciate you, MJ. I appreciate that, because like I said, I didn't know about that little trick, holding the connecting rod and then spinning the, you know, the bearing with a pick. I would always just like do what I was doing and then just kind of like eyeball it. I'm like, okay, well, I see everything in there, and I would slide to one side and then. But that's actually that's a big thing. That's a huge thing. So definitely appreciate you being here. And so yeah, guys, that's pretty much it for the 461, at least. Basically just wanted to get an idea of, I mean, I already knew that the piston was shot because it's all broken off. And even if it wasn't, it's pretty gougy, which we could have messed around and cleaned it off and whatever, but at this point, I don't know, it's a little too gougy for me. But at this point, even if it wasn't, we can't really do much. We can't replace that. Right now, though, I'm gonna see if I can connect with Aaron, because we follow each other on Instagram, and he's a very busy man. But I'm gonna see what he thinks about this, because I think this has a solution, and I think this is where. Whoa. I think this is where what separates like mechanics, like, you know, it's just what I'm trying to say is, to me, a mechanic, whether you're a small engine mechanic, whatever, and I know we follow like little procedures and things like that, but I think to me, a mechanic You know, you try to come up with like solutions, right? Other than just, well, just replace everything. You try to find like out of the box solutions to fix something. Now, I'm not saying that people that just replace parts and swap parts are not mechanics. I'm just saying that there's different levels obviously to mechanics, but I feel like most of us that are here, we would try to find a way to make this cylinder work, because this to me in my mind is still a good cylinder, especially now with machining and all this and that. There's ways. That's one thing that got me to thinking when I worked at the shop. you know Equipment would come in, we wouldn't just do chainsaws, it would be everything. Line trimmers, hedge trimmers, pole saws, blowers. And at that time I wasn't a mechanic. I was just a sales guy that started doing chain sharpening or blade sharpening, well, sharpening services. And then I basically took it upon myself to start messing with equipment, which started, which I started doing that because it started off as like putting out fires. Customers would come in all pissed off because their equipment had been sitting for a month or two or longer and nothing had been done. Nobody had even gave them a call or just communication. And they would come, and so I would be there most of the time, because the mechanics would take off at 3 o'clock. The other salesperson that I worked with, they would take off at 3 o'clock. Sometimes they would leave early. It doesn't matter. And so I would be there like half the day, like the end of the day, like the half end of the day was like, it was just me, which was great. And so I would be like, oh, because I really do believe in service. And I would just be like, oh man, like I've always been pretty mechanically inclined and have an understanding of like this stuff and knowledgeable. But, as far as like troubleshooting, like I learned a lot on my own. YouTube University, good old YouTube. I learned everything on my own. And then I would watch the mechanics. All right, MG, we'll be here for a while still, for a little bit. We're going to move on to the 661. So I would just watch, pay attention, watch. Anytime the mechanics would be talking, I would just shut up and listen. The one and only time, surprisingly, shocker. And anytime I would hear them say anything, especially to a customer, like information-wise, at the end of the day, I'd come home before I had my little shed shop here. I would go on YouTube, research, basically fact check, just make sure. And sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes I would find out like, ooh, that wasn't really accurate. That wasn't very. And so I learned everything on my own. And one of the mechanics, he gave me a shot. He's like, here, take this 271 and see what you could figure out. And I figured out, I did troubleshooting, and basically once he pretty much realized, I think that, I was catching on. And at that point I already loved what I did. I loved everything. That passion was building up. That was pretty much the end of that. But that's when I realized, you know what, dude, I love doing this. This is what I want to do. Saw specifically. And the other mechanic that I worked with, yeah, he's a little edgy. He's a little rough around the edges, like work style. But you know what? He's a mechanic, a true mechanic. He was the only one that really supported my ideas, especially when it came down to modding. He showed me how to, what to use more or less, and this and that. Any questions that I had, he would actually like give me some good information, not just be like, well, just do it like this kind of. And he would actually explain to me everything, and then show me, like take time out of his day to show me stuff. So big shout out to him. I don't know if he ever watches the channel or not, but he's a big YouTube guy as well, as far as like watching videos and learning how to do stuff. So yeah. The other mechanic, I think, honestly, not to, I probably sound full of shit at this point, but I think he realized that I was very capable and I had a lot of potential. And anyways, so point of the story is that I don't even know what the freaking point. The point is just like we're learning, and I don't know. I'm very fortunate to be here now and to be in front of you guys and showing you what we can do here, and hopefully pass off some decent information, good information, give at least a good explanation. We've met people like MG and other people that actually like share insight. Aaron, my buddy Aaron, that I can now call a buddy, who is somebody that, you know, I was already watching, and, you know, I would tell him at the shop, like, oh, dude, this dude's sick, and like, look, and blah, and now I can sit here and say, like, he's a buddy of mine, and he helps me whenever he can, whenever he, you know, whenever he has time, or at least whenever I reach out to him. And yeah, so I don't know. But to me, oh, the point was, is like, to me, a mechanic, you know, oh, that was the point. That was the real point. My bad. And then we'll move on to the 661. Is equipment would come in with a little marking or something. They're like, oh, new top end, just new top end. When now I know, if it's just a little marking, not a gouge, you can just hit it with some sandpaper, man, and you're all good to go. If the cylinder, same thing with the piston. If it's just a little marking, nothing that's hanging up the nail significantly, like this one, if it wasn't like this, I would mess around and try it. But it's pretty gougy. So to them, it was just like, just new top end. And it's like, man, we wasted a lot of cylinders. I feel like a lot of good cylinders just got thrown out. And that's actually how I ended up attaining the 084 cylinder that we have here. Yeah, it looks like some very severe like scoring and gouging, but it's just piston transfer. That's all it is. And I've already cleaned it up, like majority of it. And I mean, I have a little bit left to go on the top, and I cleaned up the cylinder. It looks amazing. I cleaned it up at the shop over there. We had a nice like little parts washer, which that's what I want to have here one day, and we will. And now I have an 084 cylinder that I started porting a little bit. I just haven't taken the time to actually like finish it. Excuse me. But it's like, man. So that's where I was like, man, what if I can start like restoring cylinder sleeves and blah blah blah, and most of the time I would talk about it to other people over there, and they're like, waste of time, and blah blah blah. I don't know. They can stay just replacing parts. Anyhow, that's my spiel. So I'm going to talk to Aaron and see what we can do about that squish band. Obviously, machining is going to be the best part. Hamid, hello. Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt or ignore you there. I just was trying to get that point across that I almost pretty much lost. But yeah, let me clean off the bench here. Let me move this out of the way, and we're going to bring up Big Bertha, and we're going to do a complete teardown, because it's got all of its parts on there, and we're basically going to do the same thing. Inspect the piston and the cylinder. I already know that it's scored up, but I want to see how bad it is, because maybe, like I said, maybe we'll get lucky and I'll be able to clean it up, or maybe it'll just be too far gone where we're going to be just really taking off more material than anything. And so we'll see what we can do. But as far as this one, there's hope. Piston, no hope. We can't do nothing about that. So let me just step away for a second. I'm going to just wash off my hands. I know, but that way I'm not dirtying up the new parts. And I got to go to the restroom anyway. So just give me a moment here and we'll be right back. Alrighty. Sweet. Okay. For those of you that stuck around, appreciate you. Let's just go ahead and get some of these parts in the bag, so we have everything in order. Little steel bags here. Put some hardware in here. Actually, I'll put the small stuff in this bag. So sliding pin, this little stuff. Might as well just put that in there as well. Base gasket. Might as well put that in there as well. Little clip. We'll get some new ones for that though anyways. That's all good. I won't put the piston and the cylinder in here quite yet because I want to take some pictures of it after. Okay. Okay, we're ready to rock and roll with Big Bertha. Let me put some tools away real quick. And I'll probably use some of these, but I'd rather just take them out as I need them. Okay. Alrighty, Big Bertha time. Definitely leave out the T27. So this is Big Bertha. This is our personal 661C. So this is the M-tronic version. I got it for $800. Originally listed on Marketplace, Facebook Marketplace for $951. When they brought it to me, Hamid, yes, 661, the C version, and I didn't pull the spark plug off to inspect the cylinder. I just tried to start it. It did try to turn over a little bit, but then it just wouldn't, and then that's when I realized, you know, the compression felt a little off. And then I removed the spark plug, hit it with the flashlight, and sure enough, the cylinder is scored, which would also mean that the piston is also scored as well. But so we're gonna remove the cylinder and just see how bad it is. But I just haven't taken the time, or really had the chance to work on any of my personal saws. I don't have that many. I have the 661 here. I have an Echo 2511 that only has maybe an hour, maybe an hour and a half of runtime. So it's brand new, looks brand new. I'm gonna port it. I already have the cylinder here ready to go to port. But I just, you know, customers come first. So, and then I also have a 028 AV Wood Boss, and what else? I had an Echo CS 3000, but that's over at my family's farm. My dad has it. Really nice saw. It's a gray Echo. And what else? I had a 201, a brand new 201 in a 500i, but I sold them for the business to get parts and whatnot, stuff that we needed. Anyways, without further ado, let's get it going here. Very nice saw, beautiful saw. I had some parts laying around. I already had parts, so I replaced air filter cover, the shroud. I put the West Coast clutch cover on, West Coast 3-point dogs, brand new rewind starter, and brand new caps. But everything else is original. Hand housing's original, the handle's original, handguard is original, and this little, everything else is original. But it was a very clean saw when I got it. Very nice saw. I don't think they owned it for very long. They just had it long enough to, well, to damage all Bertha here. So anyways, let me go ahead and so as of right now, Big Bertha, she's just been a shelf queen. She's just been sitting in the shop looking all good and looking nice, but she doesn't run. But she will be soon. How soon? I don't know. So just to get, this will give you an idea of how good of a condition Big Bertha was in, or in. This is the original air filter. They may have blown it off with the air compressor, because as you can see, there's some dust up in here. But either way, that's nice. It's very nice. This isn't the original air filter base. This is actually a customer of mine's, but I just use it so I was able to take some pictures of everything. So I gave it to them because they were missing it. Or I think I sold it actually because they were missing it. So yeah, but everything else, minus the plastics and the rewind, everything else is original. She's also Big Bertha's also missing the sprocket because a customer brought in his 661. It needed a sprocket and clutch rebuild, and I had mine and it was perfectly fine. So in order to save him a few bucks, instead of having to buy everything brand new, I said, hey, if you're cool with it, this one's nice, clutch, sprocket, everything's good. So I kind of forget about that sometimes, but just to give an idea, see, it's not so anytime you do a compression test, if your saw has a decompression valve, you want to do it with the decompression valve closed. So see how easy that is? Should not be that easy. So and it's even easier when you have the decompression valve open, which is by closing it, pushing it in. It's even easier. Feels the same. So Big Bertha will not pass the hanging test. It'll just drop straight to the ground, and you don't, that's not a good sign either. So let's go ahead and tear it down, and we'll see how bad it is. We'll definitely need 8mm socket. It doesn't have to be the Stihl small one. It can be, in this case, it can be any 8mm, but this is what we have right now. T27. We're gonna need our scrunch for the bar nuts, and I guess actually I don't need an additional flathead because I can just use this one to take off the shroud. So all these parts are going to be clean because they're all brand new that we put on. All right. Let's go ahead and get rid of this rewind starter. Let me drink a little water. A little water. We do a little sidetracking here. Okay. Oh. But yeah, hope everyone is doing well today. For those of you that celebrate or observe Christmas, Merry Christmas to you, your family, your friends. Hope you guys have a good day together. If you don't get to see family today, but you do celebrate either way, you know, hopefully your day goes well and everything is good. All right. Like I said, everything's brand new. I do have the, I think I have some of the original parts, but I'm pretty sure I hooked up one of our customers with some nicer parts because theirs was kind of beat up and just, you know, because we like to do that kind of stuff. Let's remove clutch cover. This is the original version. Oh, good. I didn't tighten them down. That's good. So West Coast now makes a captive version. So the captive bar nuts, they make that version now for their clutch covers. If anybody prefers that, but so yeah, very nice clutch covers. These dogs are no joke. I've learned the hard way. And the worm gear. But yeah, wow, this is actually, I don't really remember what I keep trying to say she. It's not a human, it's just a saw. I don't know why I keep saying. I have not cleaned it at all. This is how I got it from the owner. I know they did clean it up a little bit. But this is how it came to me. And as you can see, very, very clean, not very much wear. That's as dirty as it is inside the oil pump, so not a lot of use. Like I said, I think they ran it just long enough, unfortunately, to damage the cylinder and the piston. So, Digger Mike, hello. Thoughts on the old Stihl 038 AV? I think well, it turned into the 380, which a lot of people love. 381, I think only like Brazil and other countries have that. But from my understanding, I've never ran one. I have never owned one. I haven't gotten one here in the shop yet. Maybe one day. But from what I understand, people really like the 038s, just like people really like the 036. You know, so I actually have a 360 Pro here right now. But from my understanding, I think the 038s are really good. At least that's from what I understand. And what else? Like the 028s, for instance. I have one, the AV Wood Boss. So like the last kind of versions of the the 028 before it turned into well, I guess, you know, like the 280, or I think the 028 turned into the 029 or something, I think, right? I believe. Anyways, great saws as well. They weren't considered professional, the 028s, but they're good saws. So from what I've heard, people really like the 038s. And then, of course, the 380s and 381s. So, and in my opinion, though, whether it's homeowner or professional, I think as long as it's a good running saw, it's got the power to do the job that it needs to do, run it, man, run it. So, but yeah, this is what it looks like on the clutch side. This is what it looks like on the flywheel side. Very clean saw. Very clean. The flywheel usually tells you everything, and it's not even that dirty. So even though I paid $800, and even if I would have paid the $950 that they were originally asking for a non-running 661, in my opinion, I think I think this is a steal. Bad joke. I think I got I don't know. I think it was like taking candy from a baby. It is missing some hardware. Ooh, see? Caught myself with those dogs. It's missing some of the exhaust hardware here because, again, I started kind of using it for parts. So instead of having to order parts and screws, I just started taking it off of my 661 here, because it's not even running right now. So anyhow, like I said, customers come first. Steal of a deal. Exactly. So it's just gonna make this teardown just a little easier. Not that it's, you know, a huge thing, but literally just have one T27 left here. Steal of a deal. And Digger Mike, I don't like I keep saying, because, you know, we can't assume that everybody celebrates or acknowledges holidays, but if you do, Merry Christmas to you and your family. Even the exhaust casing is not that bad. And now that I'm looking at it, now that I'm really taking the time to look at it, because I just did a general, just quick inspection, but there is, looks like there's some like little metal particles that shot up. So that was probably from the piston being super dry and just, anyways. We got some in here too. Little, man, these dogs, these West Coast dogs, man, they kind of scare me a little bit, which they should, because they will get you good. It doesn't take much. They're sharp. And I know I was talking about that, that I mark certain hardware just to know, like muffler hardware is kind of different sometimes, to make sure I don't misuse, or like the mounting screws that hold the cylinder. But these ones are pretty obvious. I mean, you got all the carbon buildup right there, and then these ones have like a little smooth like part right there. So I'm not going to mark those because it's pretty obvious what screws those are there. Okay. Gasket. Little like heat shield or whatever we want to call that. I don't really know what that would be called anyways. Muffler screw. This gasket is perfect. I managed to not damage it when I took off the muffler there, the exhaust casing there. So that's what it looks like. This is going to get a West Coast bark box. I do have some here, but they're for the 660s and 066s. So unless I can find a way to, you never know, might fit somehow, but no, I don't think. I'd rather not try to fabricate another West Coast muffler. If anything, like my buddy Aaron, he just kind of cuts this and just opens it up a little bit, and that'll be good to go. But anyhow, we'll worry about that once the saw actually gets to a running state. And also, underneath the muffler is also a good indication to see, you know, how much the saw was used. And as you can see, not very much. Ooh, yeah. Yeah, it's going to be pretty gougy. The cylinder, or the piston is not. Either way, we're going to pull it off and just see what we can do. Or just see what it actually looks like. Because either way, I want to do it. Not going to worry about taking off the flywheel. Not necessary. If anything, right now, we just need to take off our air filter base. I'm not going to remove the handle right now. I'm going to just remove the top, this AV spring right here, from right here. So this T27 and then this T27, because even if you undo this, the spring is stiff and it's still going to be there. So removing it, you know, you could potentially damage the spring by bending it. And like I was saying earlier, no need to make yourself struggle more than you have to. So just take off whatever you have to take off, even if it is a little more work, more practice. So to remove the air filter base, 2 8mm screws, or excuse me, nuts. He said nuts. Settle down, people. Settle down. My bad, Mike. Let's see. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to you. Yeah, no, thank you, Mike. I appreciate the wish, the kind words, and all the kind, you know, the holiday wishes. Yeah, so just kind of like a quick little backstory. I promise it'll be short and sweet. So I used to work at a shop here in my town, Windsor, California. It's Ace Hardware, but they had like a little like branch off for just all the power equipment, and they also had a full repair service and repair shop. It's called Supply Place. And I got hired simply just to do sales, and that's all I ever was there. But then I transitioned into doing all the sharpening. So chains, hedge trimmer blades, lawnmower blades. We didn't do any chipper blades there. What else? And yeah, sharpening services. And then I pretty much took it upon myself to start trying to fix power equipment. And that basically just came about because it kind of started off as just like me trying to put out fires when customers would come in and be pretty pissed off because nothing was happening with their equipment and it had been sitting there and communication was lost and blah blah blah. And I really pride myself on, well, just treating people right first of all, and especially when it comes to a business standpoint, you know, providing good customer service, especially that I ended up falling in love working on saws and just, you know, I loved doing what I was doing. So I basically took a risk and just said, hey, you know, just let me see what I can figure out and let me, you know, see what I can do. And YouTube University helped out a lot. I've always been pretty mechanically inclined. I started working with tiny small engines by messing around with nitro RC cars, and then I moved into electric. So I already have like some experience handling small parts and components and blah 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 and all this and that. And one of the mechanics at one point, he's like, here, check out this 271 and see what you can diagnose. And I did it, and I think he saw the potential, and he basically put a stop to that. And anyway, so that's where I started off, and I was there for about a year. I got fired from there because the main owner of the store, he realized and found out that I was doing side jobs, and the equipment that I would actually, that I worked on, customers saw the work that I did. They liked my style because I treated them right, and eventually they were coming to me directly to work on their stuff. And so yeah, the owner caught wind of that. At that point, I already had my Instagram, YouTube channel, and that's pretty much it. So he got mad because I was doing my own thing, even though it benefited that business, because everybody was coming over there because they actually knew that there was somebody that they could kind of trust, and they knew that even if I wasn't able to figure out the problem, I was going to do my best to find a solution, find a fix, and if I couldn't do either, at least I was able to give it to them straight and treat them right, and at least put in effort to trying to help them. And then that's when I realized, at that point I was already doing side work, and I had a small customer rapport and base, and luckily I'm fortunate enough to be able to work out of my grandfather's shed. That's all it is. It's a little shed. I live with my grandparents right now, and it's been an amazing journey. I've been doing my own thing here, specifically saws, because that's what I love. But every now and then I get the occasional leaf blower, and it's been an amazing journey. I've done, I don't know how many saws I've done. Everything, 200Ts, 362s, 261s, mostly all pro saws. I do get some homeowner saws here and there, mostly Stihl. I do get a lot of Echo because I do general services, and I also do sharpening services, and modification. So cylinder porting, other modifications like muffler mods, and quarter pitch conversions for the Echo 2511Ts. I do get some Husqvarna or Husqvarna, but Husqvarna. And yeah, I run a little saw shop here. So, but that's how I got started off. When I first started working that job, I didn't even know if I was gonna like it, or I didn't even know if I was gonna I was closed off. I don't know. I just wasn't in it. And then certain things changed in my personal life that I think made me enjoy things a little more, or just, I don't know. Things changed though. And I started realizing that I was liking it. My coworkers at the time were great, I thought. And I realized I was learning and I was putting my all, because, I was doing sales. So I had to learn product. I had to learn just everything. I already had the talk. I already had all that shit. But I started realizing that I was getting into it because customers would come in, ask me about product, whether it was a leaf blower, line trimmer, hedger, whatever. And at the end of the conversation, they would leave and be like, okay, well, I need to think about it, or no thanks. I would find myself like, whoa, how did I actually knew all that? And then that's when I realized, dude, I'm about it. I'm in it. So anyways, that's how I started. And now I'm doing my own thing. And luckily, by the time I got fired, I already had things going. So yeah, it was a big panic, because, yes, I will be honest, my income is still not quite the same as a consistent 9-to-5 job, But I at the end of the day, I got my raise. I'm living my little vision and my little dream, and we're doing okay. So, and I've met a lot of great people, and um, yeah, so that's pretty much it. And yeah, just like you're saying, that's what I do my best to live by. You know, Buck and Billy's, you know, work hard, be honest, be kind. That's all we can do. And I know it's some pretty simple things to live by, but as we all know, um, it can be tricky sometimes. It can be tricky, especially when we get hit with, you know, maybe that cloudy judgment or, you know, short patience. But like my grandma always tells me, do good and good things will happen. Do bad, you may have a tough time. And it's true because I'm a firm believer in karma. And I know that's getting into a whole thing and like people are gonna be like, oh, sap, cliche, but it's the truth. But anyways, I've been blessed. Um, I have a lot of recurring customers coming back, new customers coming in here and there. Um, I have people coming from my local area, all the way from, you know, from here, my local area, Sacramento, which is like an hour and a half away, Bay Area, which again, it's like at least an hour and 20 minutes both ways, depending on where they're from. My furthest customer is from Turlock, California, which is about a 3 hour drive for me. Um, he's dropped off many saws. I have another batch of his saws here. He brought me 6. Um, I have a couple people, a couple people in LA who, you know, reach out to me. And anyways, it's been a great journey. Um, Not to mention YouTube has been amazing. It all started off, our channel just started off by me just wanting to share what I do, pictures, videos, well, videos mainly, um, and then live streams. Because the whole point was to make like how-to videos, like how to diagnose, how to troubleshoot, blah blah blah. But the work has been steady, so I haven't done it. So one day I was like, you know what? Let me see what the live streams are all about. Hamid, hello, hello. My boy Hamid is consistent. Um, and 372s are great saws, for sure. And so I was like, you know what? Let me just try a live stream and just have it going on the background, just like we're doing here. Because when I'm working on stuff, I'm kind of like mumbling things to myself, kind of like talking to myself. Crazy person, no. Um, and the response has been amazing. And our channel, I started it up July 1st, my 4th of July weekend from the shop, and here we are now, 2,000 plus subscribers, and that to me is freaking mind blowing. I was mind blown when I had 5 subscribers. I was like, whoa, people are actually watching these videos, and then the live streams. It's been an amazing journey. So anyways, let's get to this real quick. But yeah, that's basically, I know I said short and sweet, but I don't really know short and sweet sometimes. but yeah, that's what we're doing. And yeah, that's the story, man. That's the story. Okay. All right. Get this cover off. So this is the M-Tronic version. So it has this little connector here. So this is where you would plug in Stihl's diagnostic module, so you can run the software. It's called the MDG or MDG, I believe. They're on version number 2 now. So yeah, we're just gonna go ahead and get this unplugged. This one has the tab version of these. This molding, which not my favorite, but it's okay. We can't always have it our way. I'm gonna try using these little clip tools to pry it up. Oh, I never thought about using these little like circlip pliers where it pushes it out. This is the first, today is the first time I thought about that. Nice. Okay. Usually I'm trying to use a flathead and I'm like scared or nervous that I'm going to break the tabs. Damn. Oh, I just pushed him back in. But these work. So to remove the carburetor, you do need to pull off your handle molding here. Maybe someone's found a way to where you don't have to do that, but again, I'd rather make things a little easier and just pull everything off that's in the way. And then that'll give you access to your lockout trigger there, or lever. And then you can just go ahead and remove your linkage. Let me see. I know the 461s are pretty easy. Oh, there we go. So this one's like a slide and then you can pull it out. You don't even have to take it out all the way. Just enough to where you can pull the carburetor. And then, let's see. This is where it gets a little tricky, for me at least. So we've got to disconnect it there. Which, let me see where I'm going to do that from. So from here, oh yeah, I need to remove that, which I think I need to use a smaller, I think it's like a T20. No, T15? Oh, it is a T20. Yep. Let me just give you guys a little quick look here with the front camera. So right now I'm just going to remove. So don't let all these cables, you know, on these M-tronic carburetors intimidate you. Sometimes it looks like there's a lot going on, but I promise you it's not too bad. My theory is, instead of trying to rush it, just take your time. Look at everything. Don't think that you have to tear something down super quick just because someone else can tear it down and put it back together super quick. It's better to just take your time, get an understanding of what the end goal is, of what you're trying to do, instead of just rushing to take it off. Because then also too, if you take your time while you're unassembling or whatever, you'll have a better understanding when you go to put it back on. And if you have to, take some pictures just to, you know, just to make sure everything is good. So we're going to disconnect from here, and then we need to remove these grounds, which that's kind of what it looks like to me, like little ground wires. Oh yeah, I forgot this thing busted. Shit. Okay. And actually, I didn't even have to... And then there's also a connector down over here, so just pull that off. We'll move this screwdriver out of the way. The driver, let me get a small little flathead so I can pry off the connector. Oh man, it's not really working out. Let's see. Let me use... I haven't worked on. This is actually the first time I'm undoing a. Oh, there we go. Okay. So just be careful. You can't just pull these carburetors right off because it's got more gadgets, and wires because it's the Amtronic version. So you're gonna have. You don't have to take this off now that I'm realizing, but actually, yeah, you do. You do. Okay. So you do have to take out your ground, or this little wire here, and this little connector that's down there. But like I said, I haven't, this is my first time actually removing an Amtronic carburetor off of a 661. I've done 661s, but they're just regular. So I think we're good to go. And either way, do I need to pull that off? We'll see. This doesn't have any fuel in it. It hasn't had any for a while, but there could still be fuel trapped in the fuel line, so I always wear some safety glasses. And then with this flathead, just carefully pry off the fuel line, but make sure that you don't puncture or tear anything. And even when you use pliers, you got to make sure, because sometimes fuel lines, they get brittle, and you don't want to tear a fuel line. And thankfully, knock on wood, I have not done so thus far, but you never know, anything can happen. I think we should be good. Yep. Man, that's a big carburetor. I mean, it makes sense, but sheesh. All right. So at this point, all we have to do now, I'm going to remove this AV spring. So undo it from here, T27, and then this T27 here. You could get away with just removing it, undoing this screw here, but this spring is pretty stiff. So when you go to remove the cylinder head, you might feel a little resistance. And like I said, don't allow yourself to struggle more than you have to. Just take it off. Make sure you take off your little boot rings. That's what I call them. And then this one too. And the point of removing the carburetor is because, so it's kind of hard to show. On the boot, you see that little like, what do they call that? It's got a little like, little clamp with the little screw. You could struggle and try to undo it from there, so you don't have to do all this. And then, but honestly, it's a lot easier to just pull the carburetor and then push the boot through the carburetor box. It's a lot easier than having to like sit there and try to screw, and it's just, believe me, at least for me. So okay, T27. Ooh, that's a good sign when it does that, because that means that they put some thread locker on that, and you should. Anytime going into metal, I use Loctite. I use the red Loctite. I skip the blue because chainsaws and a lot of power equipment, they produce a lot of vibration, and I'd rather be safe than sorry. I've already had screws fall out of a saw one time. Not a lot, but a couple, and that's not a good look. Plus, I like the red better anyways because it's a lot easier to apply, because it's not as runny as the blue. The red is like more of like a gel consistency, or thicker, but yeah, more like a gel. So I just do that. Okie put that there. Like I said, these are pretty stiff. Like I said, you can remove the cylinder head without removing that spring, but why just take it off. I normally do like to take the handle off, but in this case, I don't think I'm going to, because I don't have a lot of space here to store unassembled saws, and I think with this one we're gonna be fine. But like the 500i, you do have to take the handle off, and we'll see. But at this point, all we have to do now is just undo. Oh, we're missing a screw there, so we're just gonna undo whatever screws we have left, apparently. Oh, my bad, Mr. Prince. My bad. I saw your comment, and then I got, you see, my bad. No respect around this place, huh? Mr. Price, 627. I'm doing well, my friend. I'm doing well. Again, I apologize that I promise you I did acknowledge your comment, and then I just like, I forgot. So much love to you. Thank you for being here. I have no idea how you remember all the parts and their places. I don't know either. Sometimes the thing is, and it's kind of like coming back to what I was saying earlier, you just have to, like, especially when you already go into it kind of like, you just take your time. And obviously repetitive, but you just take your time to really see where everything's coming from, especially hardware. You just gotta, I mean, everyone has a way of learning, I guess. But just take your time, go slow. Because believe me, I'll be honest, I've worked on a few saws already, like here at the shop. But even still, going into a saw, I'm like, okay, like, like it's hardware, especially the hardware, you know. But eventually, you'll pick up a way to remember, and yeah, just especially repetitive, and but hardware though is still kind of like one of those things. But worst case worse, you just gotta, if you're not sure if a screw goes into a certain place, start threading it in, and most of the time you'll be able to feel if the screw goes in or not. But yeah, it's just, believe me, sometimes I still don't even know. And I'll be honest, sometimes I don't like doing full teardowns and then having the saw unassembled, but at this point, that's what I do. I tear it down, prep it for whatever the repair needs to be, like top end or whatever, so that way I'm not doing double or triple the work. But even then, sometimes, if you walk away from something and you're like, okay, like where, but trust me, eventually it'll come to you. But yeah, it's, I guess my brain cells, I still have enough brain cells, I guess. I don't know. I've been told that maybe like once before or twice. They're like, dude, I don't know how you do it. And I don't know either. Like I said, I kind of have a little bit of an experience just because of when I used to do RC cars. A lot of small parts and screws and whatever. So I already have an idea. But the whole thing is, if you feel overwhelmed, just, like I said, take some pictures. That's what helped me a lot. Like linkages, like throttle linkages and all that, especially for the top handles. I've done them a few times already. But they still throw me for a loop, man. So if anything, take pictures, take videos, whatever kind of helps. YouTube University. But like I said, we all have our methods. We all have our ways of learning, But well, see, like that's happened to me once. I was done with the repair. I think I was doing a top end cylinder, and the screw fell, and it went down into the housing, and I had to take the saw all apart again. But in this case, we don't have to, thankfully. And it's little things like that. A lot of people, especially my family, they're like, because I have patience. I've become better at having higher patience. But for some things, I don't have a lot of patience. And my family especially, they're like, I don't know how you do it. I don't know how you have the patience to mess with these saws and equipment and, you know, and, but if there's one thing, and I'll be honest, if there's one thing that really irritates the hell out of me is when, like, for instance, I was done with the repair, assembled everything, and then the screw fell underneath here and I couldn't get it out. So I had to like pretty much split the saw again. And it's little things like that. But yeah, I don't know. Or just, you know, when I do a repair and it doesn't work, but that's all part of the game. But yeah, I don't know. Okay, so we're set to go. So the last thing to do is to start pushing the boot through the carburetor box. I think that's what they call it. Chevy 5-speed back in the house. It's going good, my friend, going good. We're almost about done here. This is the last thing that we're doing tonight, is just going through Big Bertha to see how bad it is. I know the piston is already really bad because I saw it again through the exhaust port, and it's beyond the point where we can clean it up with some Scotch-Brite and sandpaper. So my guess is the cylinder sleeve is going to be pretty bad too. And like I said, some of these boots are pretty soft, but some of them are pretty, I mean, this one has to be kind of beefy anyways, but some of them are not so easy. I mean, they're easy, but they're a little bit more, like, you need some finger power. You basically do it like that. I know you can't really see, that's shitty, but hoo-hoo. So this is the first time I'm seeing Big Bertha cylinder. And really getting an idea of how bad it is. Oh yeah, it's gougy, all right. You hear that? Look. So once it's doing that, that's a simple way to know how bad the scoring is. So there's two levels of it. So markings, so that's just the beginning stages of gouging. That's just from the piston coming in contact with the cylinder sleeve. And then gouges, which is what we have here, is, so the definition of gouges or gouge is, I mean, it's not a specific, it's not an exact definition, but it's just deep grooves or indentations. You know, markings are usually just smooth to the touch. Most of the time you can just clean it off with some sandpaper. I've done it a couple times already. I did it to my buddy's 500i. A shop was about to charge him at least like about $800 just for a new top end, labor, blah blah blah. I cleaned it up and I charged him only $200. And anyhow, so one way to know how deep it is or how bad, just take your fingernail and scratch over the marks. And if it's bad, you'll hear that. Woo, smelling like gasolina. All that lubrication in there, and still, and theoretically, you can still clean up gouges. At that point, it would be a honing job, but at that point, you're taking off material, you're changing the bore, and then there's more things that you have to make sure of, you know, like how your piston fits inside the sleeve and blah blah blah. It just depends, right? How hard you have to go. Like this, you could probably get away with a little honing, and I might even just, because it's my personal saw, I might mess around, or, you know, we might even be able to hit it with some sandpaper. And even when you do it with just the sandpaper, you're cleaning the markings. So like the first stage of scoring, one thing that you really want to pay attention to and be careful of is that you do not go through the chrome plating. Nicocell usually. That you don't go through the chrome plating, because once you go through the chrome plating, it's going to start chipping off, and then it's just, you don't want that. So you got to be careful. But other than that, towards the top of the squish band, there's Like it's beginning to gouge a little bit. Yeah, see up at the port right there, it's a little gougy. So I might still try and clean it up and just see what kind of results I get, just because it is my personal saw. So either way, it's a side project type thing. But the piston, it's still, hey pa, hold on a second, guys. Okay, hopefully you guys can hear me. I was on mute just because I was talking to Grandpa. I know he doesn't mind, but just not for me, but just so basically right now I'm on tamales duty. So we made between the last 2 days. So I'm Hispanic. And that's just part of the tradition. We make tamales and pozole. We made 12 bags of tamales of 2 different kinds. So beef in a red chile and chicken in a green chile. And so right now they're gonna go to the Christmas mass. I'm not saying I'm not religious, but I don't go to mass. Maybe I should. Anyways, so I'm on tamales duty, making sure that I turn them off at a certain time so they don't get ruined. So that's all. That's all it was. Let's see. Mike says, "Have you ever had a piston go bad but not the cylinder?" I had a 455 Rancher. When I warmed it up, it would never stay running till it cooled off. Then I tore it down. The piston was burned. No, at least in my case, I have not. Anytime, so one way to check. So there's a couple ways, guys, that you can check. The condition of your cylinder. Of course, you can do a compression test. There's 2 ways of doing a compression test. The one is you can hook up a compression gauge into the cylinder where the spark plug goes, and then just pull on it. That'll just give you a reading of your PSI. Another way that you can test compression is do the good old traditional hanging test. If it stays there and then starts chugging slowly, that's typically, good compression. But if it just goes down like a yo-yo, no good. Another way, and then that's just checking your compression levels, right? Your level. But in order to see, what your piston looks like or your cylinder sleeve looks like, so you can start by removing the cylinder or the spark plug, bringing your piston to bottom center. I think that's the correct way. Anyways, just enough to where you can see the front of the cylinder, but that'll just give you an idea of what the front of the cylinder looks like. And then, but that won't give you a view of the back of the cylinder, so the intake side. The other way that you can check, and that you should, is removing your muffler, and then again bringing the piston down. That'll give you a look of the back of the cylinder sleeve, and then of course that'll give you a front view of the exhaust side, or the piston on the exhaust side. But Mike, no, I've never seen that. I'll be honest with you, I've never seen that yet. Maybe I will. That's like me not thinking I would ever see something like this. I know eventually, you see some stuff, but this, look at that. This is the muffler side. You can see it got very hot, and then something happened with the ring. It hung up, it snagged up on the exhaust port, and it just, you know, the piston was already super hot, and so it was already becoming soft and just weak, and it just chipped right off. But no, I've never seen that happen. You know, usually when I see a scored up piston, I instantly assume that it's going to be, the cylinder sleeve is going to be damaged. Sometimes the piston's really bad and the cylinder sleeve is not too bad. I don't know. I feel like I've seen that, but usually most of the time, no, I've never seen that. I know that was a really long answer to a simple question, but no, I've never seen that. And right now that I'm just here talking, I might have to replace this tank vent because it got damaged right there. So one of the holes is just like blocked off now. So I'm gonna have to replace that before I start running this thing. So I'll give you guys a view of the piston here. This is the exhaust side, so the front. Also gougy. The piston rings are seized on there. A lot of damage. So, but the cylinder sleeve, it is gougy, not crazy. Well, but I would still probably want to mess around and see if I can at least clean up the sleeve, get a new piston and rings, and go from there. But I have quite a few cylinders here, and I do have a 661 cylinder that I replaced, and I feel like the piston almost looks the same, although this one, yeah, this one's really bad too. So this is another 661 piston that I replaced. A 500i. This is from my buddy's 500i, the original. Piston rings are all seized on there, and probably could have been cleaned up maybe a little bit, but either way, pretty, at least this side could have been cleaned up. It's not gougy, it's smooth. There's a couple little small gouges here, but being that the piston rings are all, you know, I could have probably pried them off. And either way, all R&D stuff that I want to do. I also have a 500i cylinder. I'll show you guys. A buddy of, well, actually I won't show you because it's going to knock over all this stuff, but it's not the original cylinder that I did for my buddy's 500i. It's a 500i cylinder that my buddy Gerardo from Action Power Sports. Unfortunately, they're not open anymore. They closed down this month. But he was the mechanic there, and he was really cool, man. He was very supportive and shared a lot of insight. And so when I told him about that 500i, I was like, yeah, man, you know, blah blah blah. And he ended up giving me a piston and a cylinder, and that one's perfectly fine. It's cleaning up very well. It doesn't need much. So I have a 500i. So maybe if I find a 500i skeleton around there somewhere, I'm gonna port that one up and just, I don't know. There's a lot of stuff, a lot of side project stuff going on. But yeah, what size saw is that? The 661 or the 500i? Either way, the 661, I believe it's like a 90 cc saw, 90, 91, maybe 89. No, 90 cc. The 500i is we got MG in the house. MG, my man. What size saw is the 500i? I forget. It's like an 80, right? I think an 80 cc. And then the 661 is like a 90, 91, something like that. Because the 881 is like 100 and it's like 122 cc, like 122.2 or something like that. But and then yeah, but this one I believe is in the 90 range, and then the 500i is like 80, I believe. Yeah, so Mike, yeah, so in order to do warranty work, yes, you definitely have to be a certified Stihl dealer. But the cool thing is, though, which maybe one day we will, but there's a couple things that we got to work on, like well, financially, and then we should probably work on our credit a little bit more. That's right, 79. Okay, yeah, 79, and then yeah, so the 661 for sure is like a 90 cc, or 89, I believe, but I think it's like 90 or something like that. Which actually, you know what? I don't know why I have all my dealer stuff from when I worked at the shop. Actually have I call it the Bible, because it has all the specs, all the it has everything you need to know, and that's for like dealers and techs. You know, it tells you fuel capacity down to the ounces. It tells you torque. It tells you literally everything you need to know about chains. So I'm very fortunate enough to have that. I have the 2023 from when I started, and then I pushed to get the 2024. They're great books. They're amazing. I ordered like 10 when I was working at the shop over there. And I ended up ordering us a new bar and chain catalog, but unfortunately I didn't get a chance to bring it. So we got married with small engines in the house. Christmas Eve chainsaw repairs. Love it. Yeah, no, so this one's just the personal. This is our personal 661 that we call Big Bertha, because she's just, anyways, we call her Big Bertha. Picked it up for $800 off a marketplace, originally listed for $975. And when I was working at the shop that I used to work at, they brought it to me. They drove an hour. It wanted to turn over, and then finally I just, you know, removed the spark plug and just checked it out, scored, and then ended up getting it for $800. Beautiful saw. I haven't even cleaned it, but this is how I got it. This is what the front of the muffler looks like. Very clean saw. And then I had some parts laying around, so I just did a little cosmetic makeover. Shroud, air filter cover, new rewind starter, even though it did not need any of that, but sometimes we can be a little extra. And then of course we had to throw on a little flare. West Coast clutch cover, 3-point dogs. And then I think to touch it up, to, you know, put the cherry on top, I put some new filler caps, the ones with the blue O-rings, which I was told those are like the better, new and improved ones. I don't know. But, and then this is the M-tronic version. And so I haven't had a chance to check it out really since I bought it, which was back in like, oh man, I don't know, like July or June. So it's just been sitting pretty up on the shelf over here. And yeah, so MG, let's see, Platinum gives you much better perks. But anyways, Mike, my bad. My point was that, yeah, you have to be a certified dealer to do warranty repairs. But let's say you get your equipment registered in one town. If you go, pretty much, to my understanding, from what I remember, you can go anywhere that's the authorized Stihl dealer, and they can help you with the warranty. Of course, you know, try to go to your original location. But yeah, you have to be a certified dealer to do all that good stuff. Me, when I was working at the shop that I was working at, I did I was just bronze level, because like, again, I just got hired to do sales, and that's all I ever did there. And then other than sharpening services, and then I basically, like I said, you know, it started off as like trying to put out fires, because customers would come in all pissed off because nothing was really happening. And like I said, I really do pride myself on customer service and service in general. And I just did my thing, and then there I was. And anyhow, so that's kind of my little story there. But no, married, yeah, definitely very clean 661. Like I said, I haven't cleaned it up yet. I haven't given it our little cleaning touch, but that's as dirty as it came to us. Very light use saw. My theory is that they had it long enough, unfortunately, to score up the cylinder sleeve and the piston. we do got some gouges, but I kind of want to mess around once I have some more time and see if I can clean it up. The piston, though, I'm not even going to bother with it because the rings are all seized up on there, and that's a little more effort that I want to put into it, unfortunately. But that's, oh man, those dogs are no joke. Pretty nasty. But other than that, beautiful saw. Beautiful saw. And that's what the inside of the, inside of the, I believe they call it the carburetor box. That's what it looks like. So not a lot of use. It looks even nicer with all the new parts that I put on it. I had a buddy tell me, like, why did you even put those parts on there, man? It doesn't even run. Why did you, I don't know. Look, let me be happy, all right? But that's pretty much it for at least what we were going to do, like the main goal. But we'll be hanging out for a little bit in case anybody has any questions, comments, concerns. We have a form for concerns and complaints. No, I'm just kidding. So one of the mechanics that I worked with, he's like, bro, he's like, why don't you just get a little aftermarket cylinder? He's like, and then resell it and like make your money back or more. And I'm like, first of all, I love saws. Okay. So in my vision, one day I'm going to have a whole rack and row of just all kinds of saws. Right. But then too, it's like, that's not how I roll. If I'm going to sell something, it's going to be legit. Right. So, which I'm sure we could do that, but no. 661s in this condition, even blown up, as I call it, they don't come around very often. So, got to keep this one. Let's see. MG, any Stihl dealer can do exactly. So yeah, that's what I remember. As long as your equipment is registered, any dealer will honor the warranty. At least they should. Of course, every shop is a little different. They must have a certified tech, I believe. It's silver level. Yeah, so all the mechanics, all the mechanic, because there was 2 locations, because it was an Ace Hardware, and then we had our little branch off shop. But yeah, silver was, that's it. That's all it was. So, did it have straight gas in it? You know, I'm not exactly sure if it was, I mean, it doesn't even feel like there was any lube. I mean, I think it smells like primarily straight gas. But again, I don't know. But I think what it was is they just beat on it a little too much. We got a lot of discoloration on the cylinder head here. Although the piston doesn't have, I mean, the top of it, there's a lot of buildup, but the sides of them, the side of the piston doesn't look overheated, but clearly it ran a little too hot. Maybe they were running a low quality oil. Maybe they weren't running full synthetic. And I think they were just beating on it a little too hard, enough for there not to be enough lubrication. But because in the description of the post, they said it was used for one winter season. And I think, well, that's all they were able to get out of it, because they ran it a little too hard. But could have been maybe, an incorrect fuel mixture. Like I said, maybe a non-full, a low quality oil could have done it, because it's not dirty. So I don't have reason to believe that debris got in there. But again, you never know. But just being the cylinder head is a little toasty looking, beat on it way too hard. I don't know if they ran a dull chain or not. I mean, again, when they brought it to me, it was cleaned up. So even if there was a lot of signs of dull chain use, I mean, it was wiped off or cleaned off. because when I got it, it came with a 36-inch bar, non-light bar, which is totally fine. Sometimes I prefer the non-light bars anyways. I don't know. And what else? And the chain that they had on it was brand new. So maybe the chain that they ran previously was really dull. And then they wanted to go out and use it again, and they bought a brand new chain. And so I don't really know too much. I didn't ask a lot of questions, and usually I ask a lot of questions, but at that point I just wanted the saw. So it could have been a number of things, really. So married, yeah, it did come with the bar and a chain. From what I can tell, the bar doesn't have any. Yeah, let me pull it over here. Oh, okay. From what I remember seeing, the bar looks pretty dang good. No signs of heat stress or nothing, overheating. Like I was saying, the chain that it came with, it was a brand new chain almost. Full chisel, a full comp at that, which I don't know if I would have ran a full comp, but whatever, it doesn't matter. Everyone runs their saws a little differently, but the bar is great condition. I mean, no signs of nothing. I mean, well, actually, you know what? When you look at it, yeah, it did get a little hot. I can see it now. It did get a little hot. I don't know if you guys can see it. It's a little blue. If you really look at it, yeah, it's... But other than that, I mean, it's a really nice bar. 36-inch bar. I think this one's 063. 050. But it's nice. Nice heavy bar. Sprocket feels perfect. Like it almost feels like a brand new sprocket. It doesn't have any play at all. Does have a little lip on the nose, but yeah, this saw was great. I mean, other than the piston and the cylinder. And that's what I was kind of assuming. Well, like my theory is that they did run a dull chain. For one, I think they ran this saw way too hard somehow, but it could have just been a dull chain. You never know. But the chain that it came with, it looked brand new because it was still super sharp, clean at that. Actually, now that I remember, I ended up using it for another customer. I actually hooked him up with it. I was like, here, I have this chain. I don't know if you like it, but it's free to a good home if you need it. And they're like, hell yeah. So, but cylinders do not lie. Well, neither do bars. But beautiful bar. I mean, it's a bummer because, you know, I mean, it's a heavy saw, and yeah, it's got some power. You know, only because I got a killer deal on this. That's the only reason why I bought a 661. But me personally, if I ever go out to buy, and whenever we have a little extra quiche one day and we're doing a lot of cutting, depending on what I'm doing, I would love to own a Husqvarna 592. Those saws, man, they're nice saws. They're really nice. I think we can all agree, okay? Like I said, I'm a Stihl fanboy, okay? But Husqvarna, though, or Husqvarna, I know it's really pronounced Husqvarna, but Husky really makes some good, nice saws. Sometimes I just feel like they can't, like, put up with the abuse sometimes as good as a Stihl. But, again, everyone has different experiences. So, for now, I mean, we're not going to do too much other than I just wanted to see how bad it was. Piston, for sure, I'm gonna replace. This one, the sleeve, I think I'm gonna just try to see how much I can clean it with a little sandpaper, a little Scotch-Brite, and just see what I can get out of it. I mean, I think that's why some of us do what we do, for like a little R&D and just some fun, and just got to have a little more time. Maybe we can try to do that maybe we can do that. I don't want to make any promises. Maybe tomorrow, but soon. Let's just try it, because everything's pretty caught up here in the shop. Just got to place some part orders and wait for parts. I do have some saw cleanups to do. They're pretty nasty compared to like what I consider like normal dirty. And I still have to port up my 2511, which it's already torn up and everything. But here's the, look at this little cute, these things are so cute, man. Look at that. So just got to port this up and check out the piston and the crankcase here. I swear these look like a toy. My 2511 only has about, I literally bought it, slapped on the Egan straight shot, did the quarter pitch conversion. At that time I had the ripsaw bar, and just ran it enough just to make some test cuts and tune it up a little bit. But it only has maybe an hour and a half of runtime on it, not very much. So just gotta do that. But yeah, maybe we can do that. Right now I feel like tomorrow would be a good day to do that, because I have nothing going on right now other than just doing some saw cleanups, and that's pretty much it for right now. I'll give you guys a look at the engine housing. I haven't even cleaned this. This is just how new it is. And I think this is going to go to a customer for his 2511, because it cracked here in the front by the reses. So I think to save some time and a little money, probably just shoot a mine, and then I'll just buy myself a new one somewhere else, or you know, later on. Married says, I'm working on a Stihl 024 today. Dumpster find. You know, those dumpster finds are fun. They're fun. And I know sometimes they're not so fun, because I know sometimes it's just like, what the hell is going on? But, which brings me to say, guys, if you, I know a lot of us know who Married is, but if you guys don't know who Married with Small Engines is, badass mechanic, does a little bit of everything. The lawnmower graveyard is impressive. It's freaking impressive. But just a lot of great information, good solid videos, and like Married is talking about, you know, the dumpster finds. Those are fun. Quite a few of them, and that 024 or that 024, that's going to be interesting. That's going to be interesting. I need to actually catch up on some videos. We need to catch up with some of Aaron's videos, and so I think we'll do some of that in the next couple of days here. So yeah, dumpster finds. Once we are in a position, that's basically what I want to do, is ride around, hit up all the tree service companies, like big tree service companies, and be like, hey, what do you guys got? Because my latest customer that I got, a new customer, Fred from Vintage Tree Care, he's got a lot of saws, a lot. So I have 2 of his 461s, which is, one of them is the one that we did earlier, and one of his 201s that is his guy brought over. And yeah, he's got a lot. He's like, yeah, man, I'm excited to see what you can do. He's like, I know you do good work. He's like, but I'm excited. I just want to see what you can do. And if they turn out well or turn out good, he's like, I got a bunch more. So my point is, that's what I want to do, is once we have a little time, a little more quiche, ride around and see what people have just abandoned and just pick up saws. I'm one of those, and I feel the same way with vehicles. Everything has potential. I mean, sometimes it's not worth it, but you know, maybe eventually start selling used saws, rentals. When I was working at that shop over there, we'd get a lot of customers all the time. Do you guys rent equipment here, or is it all brand new? And it's like, it's kind of shitty to say, no, man, all brand new here. Or rentals, it's a good business. So there's some plans. Have some little visions here for all little preferred saw works. But yeah, that'd be awesome to just ride around, see what people have, and basically get into like restoring and refurbishing. That'd be pretty cool. Exactly. And a lot of the times, so one of the things that I found, especially like coming back to, because I primarily, mainly doing chainsaws, I cater to, you know, guys that work in tree service or tree service companies. And it's almost kind of like, I'm not going to say sickening because that's kind of dramatic, I feel like, but it is kind of, they'll throw out a saw or they'll just toss it or like just put it off to the side, and it could be simple, like a metering diaphragm, or simple, maybe a general service, clogged air filter, or depending on, if it has, maybe a clogged spark arrestor, or just something simple. And it's crazy. And that's how these companies make money, because it could be something very simple, bad gas, I don't know, and it's just not starting. They're like, you know what, screw this, instead of taking it to the shop. And I get it, some shops, it takes them about 2 to 3 weeks, depending, just to get to an inspection, right? And then repair time to, anyways, point is, they'd rather just go buy brand new than, because it's all about downtime. Time is money. Really, it's all about time is money. But a lot of the times it's something simple, and it's just like, damn, that's crazy. I mean, it must be nice to just be like, oh, my saw's not running right, let's go pick up a brand new 201 or whatever it is. But a lot of times, yeah, it's something simple. It could be just a little carburetor rebuild kit, or just something. But yeah, married, I agree. That's the thing. Trying to figure out why do they just throw it out like that? And I know that's always the thought, right? When in your videos, like, why? Like, what the hell? What's going on? And it's crazy because a lot of the times, not everybody's like a chainsaw nerd. A lot of my customers here, their saws are their babies. They want to pimp them out. They want to treat them good. But you can tell when a certain piece of equipment comes in, or certain saws come in, you can tell when they're just tools. I mean, that's what they are, but you can tell when they're just work tools. They run them, just all they know is that they're running a chainsaw, and that's what they need to do or use to get their job done. And that kind of kills me too, because like a couple of the saws that I have here, they're just, oh, you could just feel the abuse, and it kind of hurts a little bit, not gonna lie. But yeah, a lot of people, my point was, is a lot of people don't know what they have. I have, so my buddy Tino, I call them all buddies because they're all buddies. I hate saying customers, but they're customers, right? But he called me and he's like, hey, I got, my buddy, gave me your phone number, and I have a couple saws here, and honestly, I don't know if they're worth even like fixing, and blah, blah, blah. And I said, yeah, man, like, what do you got? And he's like, I don't know. He's like, my boss had him there just kind of just abandoned, and he told me if I wanted to just, basically just figure it out. I'm like, yeah, what do you got? He's like, oh, a couple 461s and a 201. And I'm like, he's like, honestly, he's like, I don't know, we're kind of thinking they're not worth it. And I'm like, no. I'm like, dude, you need to come by. You need to come by, bring those saws, and he's like, really? He's like, they're good saws. I'm like, dude, let's just, if you have time, come on over, we'll have a conversation. And he's like, cool. He's like, well, can we at least figure out like what it's going to take, or what, I'm like, yeah, man, absolutely. So, and that's also too kind of like it kind of hurts the soul a little bit. Like, they're like, oh, I don't even know. I don't think they're that good. And then you see, and they're like, 046, 044, whatever, like good saws. And it's like, man. But again, not everybody, of course, we're not all into it like that, but it hurts a little bit. It definitely hurts. But, kind of like that 461 and the piston like being broken. I'll show you guys again because that's kind of impressive. It's the first time I've ever seen anything like it. So that's one of Tino's saws. Nice. Look at that. It's good work. Yeah. So, but I understand. Not, again, just like with a lot of things, you know. People that drive cars, they're not into cars. You tell them, oh man, nice car. Oh yeah, I don't. All they know is that they drive it and that's about it. But they don't check their, you know, their coolant. They don't check their oil level. They don't, you know, they just drive it. And being a car person, that hurts too. But it's okay. We're all different, you know. No judgment here. Although, man, it hurts. But as far as what we were doing, we've pretty much concluded what we need to do. As I'm sitting here mumbo jumboing, I'm thinking like, you know what? Let's try to, I don't know, let's try to see what we can do with that cylinder tomorrow. Actually, I'm gonna say tomorrow. I'm still not gonna say I promise, but no, we'll do it tomorrow and just see what we can do. I don't know. So far I've been using this. It's just a 120 grit. That's what I used to clean up my buddy's 500i piston and cylinder, and the saw's ripping still, and it's been a couple months already. And just see. Either way, I need to get a piston so we can do some testing. And I actually do need to sharpen a few chains. I have what, like one, I have these guys. Let me see. I think I have like 8 chains that I need to sharpen for my buddy Rodolfo. So maybe we can get down on some sharpening. Because I don't know. I know some don't like sharpening, but to me it's kind of therapeutic. I don't know. Something about making things sharp. It's just kind of like a little getaway. So we can probably get down on some chain sharpening because there's quite a few to do. When I worked at the power equipment shop, I was spoiled, man. We had this, you know, we used a grinder. We had the USG, which is really nice. It also does hedge trimmer blades and maybe other stuff too, but I know for sure hedge trimmer blades. But I like hand filing. It's an art, I feel like, and just like a grinder, things can go wrong very quickly because there's a lot of things that you have to pay attention to. But hand filing, don't get it wrong, things can go south very quickly. So we can probably get down on some chain sharpening and yeah, and just kind of hang out. I know it's Christmas for a lot of us, and you know, I know we're all going to be busy, but you know, we'll still hang out for a little bit, and whoever pops in, and you know, we'll just do it up, man. Do it up. But other than that, guys, that's pretty much all I got for you now, other than just chatting it up. Don't forget your food that's cooking. Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, you almost, don't scare me like that. I thought it was like, is it really already 6:40? No way. Almost. I got, yeah, an hour or so. But thank you though. I was like, holy sh. I was like, is it really almost 6:40? But that's how these live streams go, especially when we got a good crowd in here, and the time just goes. Time just goes. But it's pretty dark out there now. Good old winter. It gets dark very quickly. And it stopped raining. It came down hard last night, but it hasn't rained or sprinkled since the early afternoon. So I feel like it gets a little more cold when it stops raining. But here I am complaining about cold. I'm not cold right now, but there's like you guys, you know, some of you guys are in Canada and just down south and just down like over, it just gets crazy. I lived out in Minnesota for a couple years. Cali boy in Minnesota. Just trying to survive. And it's a beautiful place, but I got an idea of what winter is. And I happened to move there when they were having like the worst winters that they had in like 30 years, like whiteouts, and just, I still thought the snow was cool, but it got to the point where it's like, like, I don't know, but I would still do it again because it was great. It was a good time. But having to live in it all the time and having to plow snow and shovel snow, and I learned the hard way about frostbite. No, I didn't get it crazy, but I was stubborn one day, and somebody that I knew had a flat tire, and I was out there trying to change a tire in like negative 12-degree weather. Or no, maybe not negative 12. It was like 10 degrees. Either way, cold enough. And they're like, no, just come inside. You don't want to be out here. And yeah, my fingers felt a little weird for a few days, not gonna lie. But those lug nuts were just, they were not coming off. So, yeah, interesting times. Married says 8:30. Been dark since, oh man. Yeah, so it gets dark over here, at least in my area here in California. Now we have winter hours. Once it hits 4 o'clock, especially on a rainy day with clouds, we have a good maybe hour of sunshine. But like right now it's still pretty clear, but I'm sure over there it's like pitch dark. Alaska would be an interesting place to live, where it's like dark during the summer. It's I would still like to go to Alaska, maybe do some trout fishing over there, do something. We received 20 centimeters of snow yesterday. How much is that in like feet or in like inches? See, metric system. You know what? Let me see. Let me put in some work here. Let me put in some work. Maybe I should have paid attention more in school. Still graduated. Sometimes I don't know how, but I just did not apply myself. That's all it was. I'm smart, I promise. 7 inches. Oh, wow. That's a lot. Some might say, oh, 7 inches, that ain't nothing. But guys, I promise you, that's something. It is. We got Grayson in the house. My friend, how you doing today, man? Good to see you. I don't know if you celebrate Christmas, but if you do, Merry Christmas to you. Happy New Year's to you and your family. Hope you guys are having a good day. And either way, all that matters is that everything is good and all is well. And that everyone's healthy. That's the important part. There's still a good amount of like oil and stuff down in the crankcase there. I wonder what kind of oil. Now I'm curious. Should have asked more questions. I normally do, but and there's nothing has been in the saw like as far as like fluids or nothing for. It's been sitting bone dry. And now that I'm just like looking a little bit, connecting rod got pretty hot. Damn. It's like turning blue and stuff in there. Still smells like gas though, like really, like, well, definitely some ethanol, that's for sure. But let's see. Grayson says, I'm gonna wake up and open presents tomorrow. I'm gonna be the happiest person on earth. No, man, presents are good, man. Presents are good. For sure. But like I said, most importantly that, you get to see your family, spend time with your family, healthy. I mean, believe me, I think we all like gifts. But yeah, no, that's good, man. It sounds like a good day. Hopefully you guys have eating some good food. I don't know if you guys watch Christmas movies at all. But yeah, as long as you guys are doing good, man. Exactly. Family and friends with Christmas is about, yeah. That's what it is. That's what it is. And Christmas cookies. Oh man. The other day we made those like Pillsbury, the little white cookies, and they had like Grinch on it and stuff. Those cookies are bomb, especially when you leave them a little bit on like the, like, not uncooked side, but not super crunchy. Good stuff. Good stuff. We'll probably 15 minutes. Christian roofer, that sucks. What? I don't even know what we're that sucking about. I don't even know, man. Anyhow, well, guys, if you guys have any, like I said, if you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, we'll be here for a few more minutes, but I want to take some pictures of this of our little work here, because you know we got to let the people know that we're doing something. No, I just like taking pictures of everything. I'm definitely gonna take a picture of that piston and send it to my buddy Tino, and yeah, if you guys, I don't know if you guys have Instagram or care for Instagram, but if you guys ever want to just stay up to date with more like, you know, like before and after pictures or progress pictures, we got Instagram. We have a link in our bio. That still sounds weird for me to say, even though we've been doing this for a while, but it's kind of a weird thing that I'm still getting used to, like link in the bio. But for real, link is in the bio. I don't know if Married with Small Engines is still here. But ma'am, if you're here, I don't know. Do you have an Instagram page for your shop? I haven't looked. I would probably know if I looked, but I haven't yet. But if you do, let me know. Let me know. And we got Mike over there smoking pork butts. Man, I'm coming over, man. I'm coming over. How do you prep it? Like, is it like a glaze or just a little bit of salt and some seasonings, or like how do you? Because I know you can. Do you candy them, like the candy pork butts? You know, like the little pieces. Oh, that looks bomb. Now I'm getting hungry. Christmas roofer seeds. Roofer says I need to go toilet. Sheesh. Good luck. Good luck, Christian. Good luck, man. We're all here to support you, bud. Still got a good little crowd. I wasn't sure just because, you know, the holidays. I know not everybody celebrates, but you never know. Mustard, meat, crunch, holy gospel rub. Oh man, I've heard of that. I've heard of that rub. I promise you I have. And butter and brown oh yeah. Yep. That's the combo. That's basically like candied, right? Almost. Like, I mean, it depends on how you do it, but that sounds perfect. And really that's all I was waiting for, just to see how the prep was on that. But anyways, guys, for everybody that's been hanging out, I really appreciate your guys' time for being here, hanging out. Most importantly, just for just being cool, positive. Again, you know, we don't mind silliness, but sometimes it just gets to a point where it's a little much. But hey, I mean, we're on social media after all, and we can't control right, what happens. But I really appreciate everybody being here and hanging out. Hopefully I was able to show you guys a little something. And yeah, so tomorrow, like I said, I don't know what time, but I have a plan. We're gonna jump on a live. Whoever's here, amazing. But we're gonna just see what I can do as far as cleaning up Big Bertha cylinder here, and just see what kind of results we can get with. They call it an abrasive cloth, but it's just sandpaper. It's just fancy. It's called plumber's abrasive sand cloth, 120 grit. Just see what we can do. Either way, the piston, I'm not gonna even bother with it. Just gonna get a brand new one, but at least we can just hang out for a little bit. Whoever has time to be here and wants to hang out, see what we can do as far as cleaning up the cylinder sleeve. And then like I said, I have some chains that we can sharpen, so we can get down on some sharpening. Just promise me you guys won't make too much fun of me, because I'm not, I love hand sharpening, but just don't make fun of me. No, we'll do it. We'll learn. And what else? Maybe we could even start porting up our 2511. The intake, I already have a plan for that. Not a whole lot. Just maybe just widen it up a little bit. The exhaust port, that's something that I'm, just because it's kind of a weird, not a weird shape, but it's just different. It's not your typical, I mean, I know all cylinders are a little different, but it's not like a square. It's not, it's a little different. So we'll see how that goes, but just take it slow and see what we can do. But essentially just widening, open it up a little bit. I need to get one of those like angle bits. I think it's like a 90-degree, so I can hit the transfers a little bit better, or so I can actually hit the transfers. I can hit the bottom transfers a little bit, but I think for now, just doing for this one, I think just do the intake and the exhaust, and then that's pretty much it. And then we can maybe reassemble the 2511. That sounds like a good plan. That actually sounds like a good day, like a good Christmas plan. So yeah, let's plan on that. I don't know what time, but we'll be here. And for now, I hope everyone has a good evening or morning, depending on where you are in the world. Again, if anybody celebrates Christmas, hope you guys have a good, Christmas Eve, Merry Christmas, and we'll see each other tomorrow if all goes well. So much love to everybody. Have a good night. And Mike, that's right, got to get the gullet. I was reading, so now I'm about to do that Minnesota goodbye, and I heard something where they're like, oh, that doesn't even matter, and like it does matter. Maybe you don't need that C shape, but I don't know. Like I said, everyone has a different style, but yeah, I like to get it. You got to get it. It's like doing hedge trimmer blades, right? When you're sharpening hedge trimmer blades, you're not going to just sharpen. You got to get the gullet, man, because that's what catches everything. That's what brings everything in. But yeah. So that's kind of the plan for tomorrow. Start off with a little cylinder sleeve cleanup just to see what we can get, just to mess around, because why not? And then I think we'll get into the 2511, port it up a little bit just to see what we can get out of that, and then start reassembling everything. And then depending on how we are with time and just whatever, do some chain sharpening. So I think that sounds like a really good plan. So anyways, but for now, much love to everybody, and we'll see you on the next one. See ya.